Voice of Jackie sucks, okay?
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami Fort Lauderdale presents The Neil Rogers Show. To talk to Neil, call 567-0560, toll free for Dade and Broward, or pound 560 on your cell phone. The opinions of Neil, his guests, callers, or anyone else on the show do not necessarily reflect those of WQAM, Beasley Reed Acquisitions, or the Beasley Broadcast Group. Now, Neil Rogers on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Ray Whitney has a pair.
He is one good-looking guy.
Look at my butt.
All right.
I'm such a beautiful singer. All the guys, they want me. From the old to the teenager. I am hot, I have to say. I sing real good, my acting's okay. God, I look good. Might have a chance with this beautiful singer. I got sultry bedroom eyes and a bod I like to show. With my soft and creamy thighs, had a kid you'd never know.
Yeah.
To see me is to want me. Got a real tight booty. My bra is packed with speed. You see me all over MTV. Not that it's 40 years. I know you want me. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Beautiful singer. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Beautiful singer.
Well, it's on. What am I going to do about it, okay? It's 10:02 at 560 WQAM. Happy Monday to you. Have I ever said before American Airlines sucks? Let me just say it again, over and over and over again. And I feel bad in a way because I'm sure there are a lot of very nice people that work for that airline, like flight attendants, and maybe even some of the pilots in spite of their aberrant behavior some months ago. Let me say it, un-American Airlines blows. They blow, they suck. In fact, I would challenge this audience, anybody connected with that airline or anybody who even just flies the airline, I would like to know the last time that airline ever flew a flight that left on time and got to where it was going on time, okay? I think before the Wright brothers were infants, maybe that's when it happened. But since then, the answer is no. Never happens. They're unbelievable. They're just so bad, it's beyond belief. And this is what's happened now with this goddamn one world, and all these right-wingers talking about one world government. It's one world airlines is what the problem is. The Star Alliance and this alliance and that alliance. In the meantime, the bottom line is we get screwed. And I'm going to tell you something. First of all, the people at the airlines ought to kiss the ground that there isn't more aberrant behavior going on these days, more psychotic people, more what do they call it? Air rage? We got road rage. Air rage. It's an air rage! Because they've got you conditioned like a bunch of cattle. Well, we're going to be 7 hours late. Well, okay, what are we going to do, Yeah. Start getting pissed off. That's what I would do. Especially if I'm going somewhere. I don't mind being 7 hours late coming back here. You know what I'm saying? Like last night in Toronto. 3 hours late. Okay, fine. There's no hurry getting back to Miami, ever. In fact, 3 days late would be good. That would be, I would have said, yeah, excellent. And I'm going to say it again. What goes on, those of you who hate like poison Miami International Airport, it's very fashionable to say, I always fly out of Fort Lauderdale because I don't want to go anywhere near Miami International Airport. And the reason being that those people, I've said this a couple of weeks ago, who fly out of those terminals C and D, which is the American Airlines terminals, you feel like you're in a banana boat place. The way everything goes on there, it's like you were flying to Pakistan or somewhere. Who are all those people who are in those terminals? Every flight is chaotic. They haven't got any idea how to board a flight, how to get people on. In addition to which, well, what is the deal? Is it one or is it two carry-ons? That's the limit. I guess each airline has, I think it's supposed to be only one piece of carry-on luggage, or maybe two. Like a small one you could stick out of the seat or just stick it up your ass. There are people, of course, going up Friday, I'm in coach because there was no space in first class and not having any great contacts. Like some of the big shots, like the Bee Gees, for example, I couldn't get, knock anybody out of there. So I'm in coach for the first time in a long time. I want to say, I don't want this to sound insincere. I commiserate with all you schleppers out there that have to fly coach all the time. No, seriously, I don't know how you do it. There are sardines that are treated better when they're stuck in a can than you people that fly in coach. And believe me, there are no bargains, very damn few on the airlines. They soak you an arm and a leg. They squeeze the lifeblood out of you, no matter where you want to go. And now that they have these alliances, it's collusion, baby. We always used to have these price wars and knocking the price down and knocking it. Not anymore, you don't see that. Used to be $3,800 to fly business class, any major airline, Lufthansa, KLM, Alitalia, from Miami to just about anywhere in Europe, $3,800. Now it's $6,200 on all of them. Which is why Martinair, some of us fly Martinair, Virgin Atlantic, anything else. Who the hell wants to pay $6,200? It better be a damn good flight for $6,200 unless you're a millionaire. See, this is a very, very strange concept. But you know something? You bozos at American Airlines who are having, and the first clue you're going to have a problem. You go in the waiting area and you hear them playing Smoke Gets in Your Eyes on the PA. That's a bad, bad start when they're playing Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Hey, that's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he'll come along later. That's right. That was the only good thing about getting stuck at the airport in Toronto last night. Who was on my American Airlines flight? Old number 14. Gets on that plane. I'm sitting right up front there. Shook my hand so hard that the blood just drained out of it. Nice going, Ray. You're okay in my book, pal. Ray Whitney, the wizard. What a great guy, huh? I didn't go bother him. He was sitting up there all by himself for 3 hours in the terminal. I didn't go bother him. I didn't go, because, one thing I don't ever want to be, besides straight, there's one other thing I don't ever want to be, and that's a groupie. Do you have any idea how I despise groupies? I'm not talking about, now, for example, I'm in the airport last night. I had a couple of guys who have a gay travel agency in Miami. Funny guys. Had a great conversation, killed all the time. Good guys. And there are people always, no matter where the hell I'm traveling. Hey, Neil, how you doing? Don't mind talking to those people if they're nice. But the groupies, the ones I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Those people are nauseating. So I would never, ever want to be perceived as a groupie of anybody, which is another reason, like that backstage thing with Luis Miguel. I mean, what do I need that for? I don't need to go back. A gropey, that's one thing. I don't mind being a gropey. I'd rather be a gropey than a groupie. You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
I think you do. As a matter of fact, speaking of being a gropey, what was that thing that Joe Rose said this morning?
Grab the wood.
Yeah, okay. Sounds reasonable to me. Joe knows all about it.
Grab the wood.
Yeah, he knows about that. By the way, I hate to break the news to you, but Joe Costello wasn't the only one who thought I was going to broadcast the Dolphin game on Saturday night. Yeah, he wasn't the only one. No, don't feel bad, Joe. There were a lot of other schmucks out there, too, that got sucked into that. Like, first of all, just stop and think about it. Wayne Hypinga is going to let me broadcast the games? See, because first of all, if that wasn't an impediment, I'd be doing the Panther games this year. I'm probably the greatest living hockey announcer, maybe next to Joe Bowen in North America today, whether you know that or not. But I wouldn't even consider suggesting that to them because that's a Wayne thing, You can just hear it now.
No.
No chance, baby. How about Rogers for doing those games?
Nope.
No, what is it?
Nope.
Okay. What'd she say?
Nope.
Boy, George just gets on the floor with that bitch when she says,
Nope.
And she's a teacher, no less, Sam.
Nope.
Yeah. Rhymes with dope. So anyway, I'm going to do about 4 hours on American Airlines today and why they suck so bad. If they'd spend as much time concentrating on let's try to get somewhere, let's try to take off on time just once to see what it's like as they do on their gourmet cuisine in first class. Which I didn't eat the food like. Would you like the Chateaubriand, the pheasant under glass, a hot fudge sundae with the whipped cream nuts and cherries? How about getting me where I'm going on time would be good. Screw the food, okay, honey? Although I did actually discover a heterosexual male flight attendant on American Airlines last night. What a good-looking guy, too, by the way. I'm serious. with a wedding band and the whole bit. Very macho.
Repulses you more. He lives in the gay part of town. Unfortunately, he likes girls. And coming soon to theaters everywhere, you'll see why he has his ass wide shut.
Oh my God, I dropped my keys. What am I going to do?
Hey, hot stuff. You going to bend over and pick those up, or you just going to stand there and stare at them?
Bend over?
Impossible. He has to keep his ass wide shut.
What's the emergency, sir? I dropped my keys, officer. Oh, my. Can you cover me? Do it quickly. Clench and go.
No matter where he goes or who he meets, he must remember to keep his ass wide shut.
Thank you, officer. That was a close one. Look out behind you. Keep your
ass wide shut. Coming soon.
10:15 at 560 WQM. So I would like to ask, what is it about Terminal C and Terminal D at Miami International Airport? Is there like a sign somewhere that I've never seen that says banana boat portion of the terminal? Is that what that is? It's got to be it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't really care who else is flying on a plane as long as they're like reasonable and don't have too many weapons with them and, don't have more than 20 or 30 pieces of carry-on luggage. What is that? And it's amazing to me that you're not having brawls back there in coach because, like I said, boarding the flight. Some airlines know how to board a plane and do it. In fact, the two guys with the travel agency were telling me about Southwest. Now, I never fly Southwest because I don't ever go anywhere that Southwest flies. We've been through this. If you want to go from here to Tampa, you've got 7 stops, I think. It's a great airline, but they take very short hops, like a hop, skip, and a jump. But they're telling me that when you go there, you call in your reservation, and you buy your ticket, and they give you like a plastic boarding card numbered 1 to 100. And they do it in groups of 30. You follow what I'm saying? And so if you're like in the first 30, you go on first, and they do it strictly by that. Otherwise, you sit your ass in it, and that's the way to do it. Not an American. The plane's coming in from Guatemala. It's about an hour and 45 minutes late. And then this is Friday going up. And then Friday, we sit there, and finally, here's the plane 10 minutes earlier than they anticipated, and now another half hour later, just when you think you're going to be boarding, surprise, they haven't serviced the inside, they haven't done the food catering yet. Does anybody know why? No. They just haven't gotten around to it yet. Any special reason? Nope. And then you get on the plane, you get on the flight, and it's like chaos. It was like Alitalia. Like I've always told you, Alitalia, once you get up in the air, great airline. The food is great. The flights they use 747s, great airline. On the ground, it's like typical Italian chaos. Crazy people. And that's American. In Miami. It's the American effing way at Miami International Airport. It's chaotic. And, of course, how can you blame people after they've been sitting there waiting, and they keep lying about when you're going to leave? And so I schlep all the way back there, row 26C, whatever the hell it was, second to last row in the plane. Okay, no problem. I'm not no big shot. I can handle it. I'll survive. It's only a 2.5-hour flight. Now here they come. Here come all the banana boat people. And they've got their life's possessions with them. They've got 600 pieces each of carry-on luggage. And now some of the poor bastards who paid pretty good money to get on this plane, they want to sit down. I know that comes as a great shock to you, but they actually, sometime before they die, they would like to get to their seat and sit the hell down. Is that possible on American?
Oi!
No, not out of Miami, it's not. And I really thought there was going to be a brawl in the aisle. Because there was this one old bag. Oh, well, she's got a sticker thing. Okay, but get your ass out of the aisle, honey, so these poor couple of bastards can get by and go sit down, like you're supposed to be doing now. And it's just a chaotic, unruly, psychotic scene. And now, of course, you've waited all this time to take off, and the captain comes on, adding insult to injury, and says, well, folks, we're all ready to push back here as soon as you get your asses in your seats, that kind of thing. So in other words, we're ready to go. We got clearance to get out of here, but you've got a bunch of imbeciles, lunatics, maniacs. Somebody should be punching their lights out. Just throw their ass in a seat, buckle it up in there, and if they come too, fine. If not, too bad. Crazy people. And see, having the luxury of making enough bucks that I fly first class all the time. And I know I've said this before. I've given them and you only give them a second and third chance because you only have so many choices. Never, ever again on American Airlines. I wouldn't, unless they decide to give me for free first class with a Chateaubriand and 4 hot fudge sundaes, unless they decide to do that, forget it. No chance. No way, Jose. And again, I realize there are a lot of good people. We've got a lot of listeners, the American, that listen to this show. I apologize. And don't take it personally unless you want to. Good flight attendants on that flight last night coming back. Great flight attendants, especially the guy. But nevertheless, no, seriously, they were great. So I'm not blaming them. They're not responsible for it. But what is it about this airline that they just can't get their goddamn act together, no matter how many wrecks, no matter how many near wrecks? And I'm hearing all the stories from these travel agency guys and the other people that know me in the airport. We're sitting talking, and they're telling me horror stories about taking off, turning around, and going back, and flights being canceled. It's never ending. Never ending. Why is it so difficult? And wasn't it just about a week ago that on the news they were giving us this big song and a dance about, well, the public is fed up, and now we got good news, we've got some relief, because the FAA and some other bunch of assholes got together, and they're going to be someplace in Virginia, you know, where they do all the routing and everything. They're going to be doing it a different way, and so if the planes come within a few feet of each other, they don't care, whatever it's going to be. If they, you know, if the tips of the wings happen to touch a little bit and you see a little bit of a few sparks in the air, don't get panicky. We're just trying to speed things up here a little bit. That was the big propaganda. It was going to get better. Did it get better? No, it's getting so much worse that it's not. You better leave 6 in the morning if you hope to get somewhere by midnight, even if it's like Tampa. Even if you're flying to Fort Myers for whatever reason to get some of that bad food. I got a Fort Myers story, by the way, which I'll get to eventually if I can find what I did with it. About a bunch of people getting sick, getting food poisoning over there in Fort Myers. How do you like that? I think I lost it. That's okay. Nobody over here cares about it anyway. Don't take it personal over there in Fort Myers. We just don't care about it, okay? I think it was Shorty's Barbecue, something like that. So maybe we'll find somebody today who actually in the last 5 years flew an American Airlines flight, got on the plane on time, departed close to on time, and got to where they were going within about 5 hours of when they were supposed to get there. And they just don't seem to care. You know, I mean, the captain always comes on very apologetic. Oh, we're so sorry, you know, and then you can hear them all chuckling in the background like, oh, yeah, we really give a crap. Who wants to get to Miami anyway? Here's a mobile, and oh, you didn't redo the phone. There you go. So it means that the call, we got all started, all set up here, and we can't get the goddamn show on the air because we didn't reboot the phone this morning. Here we go. Oh, so help me God, Greg Reed. And you know, I wasn't even going to say this on the air. We were having a seminar in the hallway this morning. What are we going to do about all this Joe Zagacki being on the station so much? Do you believe he's going to be on from 6 to 10 tonight again?
No.
Oh, my God. Was I barbecued? Was I barbecued? You were fried at birth, Joe, okay? Just take a look at your puss. Look in the mirror, and you can tell you were barbecued at birth. 6 to 10, we got him on here again tonight. And the rumor has it, the reason he's on so much is because Greg Reed loves Joe Zagacki. And that's why we got this piece of crap phone equipment in here. So we can't start like a real professional radio station. I go through my whole spiel, got a whole bunch of people online here ready to rock and roll, and now we can't put the goddamn show on here because we got a cheap-ass Neisner's goddamn phone system in here. This is the state-of-the-art studio that this man lied through his teeth about. The same man that keeps putting Joe Zagacki on the air. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how you doing?
Okay.
This is the Young and Hung twins, one of them.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Okay.
I just wanted to tell you about, well, I'm Hispanic too, and you know how you're talking about the people who, the banana boat people who bring
their life's possessions with them on the plane. Right. Carry on.
Well, that is true because you should see how my parents are. They're pack rats too. Because my grandma one time took a flight to, I think from Guatemala or something, and she brought back her the food that they feed you on the plane. She didn't finish it, so she packed it up and put it in her suit, in her pocket, and brought it home and ate it. So
beauty.
What do you think about that?
Put it in her purse. Yeah.
Yeah.
The coleslaw and the pickles.
By the way, remember how I told you that me and my brother are twins?
Yeah.
Well, my coaches, they're twins also.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not young and hung. They're old and done.
Okay, pal.
All right.
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay, good guys, but no material. Okay, what happened here? Now, see that this is what goes on when you're trying to do a goddamn radio show with a bunch of Play-Doh. That's what happens with an erector set with no erection. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. God. The stress from this today, I'm going to have to be taking a vacation very soon. I'll tell you that right now. We got Mandich at 2.
Yes!
Then at 6 o'clock, I know it's hard to believe, but at 6 o'clock,
Joe Zagacki
will be back for more punishment, not for himself, but for the audience. Was I barbecued? That's good. A man who just couldn't possibly be on radio or television, he'll be on this radio station 6 to 10 tonight. Ed Kaplan. Hey, Ed, how'd you like to follow Joe Zagacki for 4 hours, Ed, huh? You think following the Marlins is bad? You ain't seen nothing yet, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of the biggest reasons you're right about nobody really cares down there. I'm not saying that all the employees are like that, but most of them are $6 an hour employees, people that work on the ramp, people who service the aircraft. They really don't care. Half the time they can't get them to show up for work. And it's basically the way the airlines are operating now. Keep their costs down. They hire all part-time and low-wage workers.
Yeah.
And that's basically one of the major problems.
Great. That's uplifting. It really is a confidence booster hearing that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the main reasons.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the good news. Well, we have a little bit of a problem today. Oh, so they were telling me about one flight that it was America Worst Airlines. They couldn't get the plane off the ground because they couldn't fit the nozzle into the gas tank in the plane. True story. That was the excuse that they gave. They couldn't put the lotion in the basket. They couldn't put the nozzle in the hole, which I'm sure that there are some of the flight attendants who have that problem, but nevertheless, I don't want to say what airline they work for. 567-0560, pound 560 on a Mobile One line. See, we're still waiting on one person that got somewhere on time from American Airlines in the last 2 years. Have we heard from anybody yet?
No.
No. Heard from anybody that likes them?
No.
That likes that banana boat part of Miami International Airport?
No.
They ought to like cordon it off, okay? Just let all the illegal aliens go in that part of the airport. Not like real living and breathing citizens. No, forget about that. Let us go some other place. But the illegal aliens, that's your area, man. Just schlep all your stuff. All your crap. Crazy people coming on there with their arms loaded, dragging every kind of thing imaginable that you ever saw, and then trying to jam it into those poor little overhead spouts. Just jamming it. And then, of course, the best part is you got your bag up there, nice and small and the proper size, and all of a sudden now they're smashing into the back because they're shoveling all kinds of crap on there. Over and underneath and around and in front of your goddamn bag that you're hoping to pull out of there and get off the plane if you ever get where you're going. Crazy people. You mark my words, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. You think those 2 episodes in Boston, that was only the beginning. And I'm not suggesting that people ought to be, because it's dangerous getting crazy up on a plane 37,000 feet up in the air. But people's patience, baby, it's going to start running out. You know what I'm saying? 1026 at 560 WQAM.
Dear God.
Oh, my wife says it really hurts to blow, Why? Does she have a really small mouth?
What? No, she's got a cold and her nose is all rough from the tissues. What the hell were you talking about?
Make an ass of yourself at work today.
The same thing as you. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Then try a do-over.
What does her mouth have to do with blowing?
Medically proven to erase up to 24 hours of memory.
Wait a minute.
Do-over.
Oh, you sick bastard.
For when you really up.
1031 at 560 WQAM. Welcome to Cattle Call. Because that's basically what we are. Anybody that flies, anybody that uses commercial airlines, you're just a bunch of cattle, all of us. And especially if you're flying in coach. Maybe that's why they charge about $50,000 to fly from here to Jacksonville in first class. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I'm a pilot for American, and I haven't been on a flight that's taken off on time this month either.
Wow. And why is that?
Well, they got a CEO down there, Don Carty, that's screwing the whole airline up. He's putting every labor group fighting against itself.
Yeah.
He's a slick guy.
But how long does he think the public's going to put up with this?
He doesn't care. They're bottom line number crunchers.
Yeah.
And he was at a party.
There were empty seats on that flight last night, even with 3 hours delay. You'd think that maybe they get some stragglers coming on to fill up the plane. There were empty seats even in first class.
Yeah, they're messing it up. He doesn't understand. He pisses off all his employees. Nobody wants to work for him. Nobody's talking.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the good news. I mean, what is there to say, What am I going to say to this guy? He's one of the pilots. Yeah. 5670560. And let me ask you this. What kind of I'm not knocking because there are a lot of great flight attendants. Like I said, the people on this plane last night were very nice, especially the guy. But what kind of person wants to do that? Like a person who's married? Because I'm realizing that most of the women flight attendants are married, number one. And this guy was, most of the male flight attendants, as you know, are, well, I don't want to say the word, but what they are. But this guy was married with a wedding band and a real good-looking guy. But what kind of a life is that? What kind of family life can you have when you're like a couple of days over here and you got to stop over? What is that? Can you tell me? Unless you got like a really bad marriage, you know.
Get a lot on the side.
Unless you got somebody at home with a real bad BO and you just, you know, or somebody who farts a lot, something like that. And it's a real good excuse to stay the hell away from there. No, I just don't understand that. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Well, that call we had there from El Capitano, from El Comandante, it didn't sound too uplifting, huh? As far as flying American anytime soon, did it? Not that I want to do 4 hours at American Airlines, and the fact that every single time you want to go somewhere, that they're, not, you know, I don't mind 20 minutes late, a half hour late, 45 minutes late. Especially if it's a weather-related thing. I mean, you know, they can't do anything about the weather. If you were going to Houston last night, probably didn't get there too soon. You know what I'm saying? Like at all. I understand that. But just generally speaking, as of run-of-the-mill, total and utter chaos. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
If it wasn't for you ragging on Gazaki, I wouldn't have even listened at all. That guy really does suck.
Joe Zagacki sucks, okay?
And you know, another thing, I flew North American up to Memphis on a Friday.
North American?
Or American, I mean, on Friday.
Un-American?
Un-American, on a Friday. And they stole tools. I was going up there to go to school, and they stole tools out of my tool pouch that I had, you know, going through baggage.
They stole your tool?
Yeah, and then when I called them on a Friday night, when I got to the hotel on a Friday night, I called the airline and told them, and they said, well, you have to call the main office, and you have to make the claim within 24 hours.
Yeah, so you're SOL.
Right, because they're closed all weekend.
Yeah.
So you can't even make a claim on the weekend. So if they rip you off on a Friday, they get away scot-free.
Well, I'd keep them out of my pouch next time. If I were you, they'll grab your tool every time. 5670560, that's what they said in Clockwork Orange. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. See, I don't think this audience goes anywhere, you know. Every time I talk about some kind of airline-related thing, it's like, well, we don't know what you're talking about. We don't have the big money like you. We can't be flying all over the world all the time. They don't go anywhere. That's the problem with this town. Most of the people, maybe it's only the banana boat people. How the hell come they can afford to be going on these flights, huh? That's what I wonder. You look at some of those people, and some of the people sitting in first class, you know that somebody else must have bought the ticket, or else they stole it, or something, you know? Here's a mobile in Delray Beach. Hello?
Neil.
Yes, sir.
What kind of day is this? The worst. I'll tell you why.
What does that mean, sir?
I gave up flying about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere from the radius of Atlanta on down to beautiful Miami, I drive.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they were having some real fare markdowns, and I was lucky enough to get stuck in coach on another airline I won't name, Delta. And
they're not ready when you are, by the way.
Never. And people were getting on, talking about carry-on luggage, using hefty bags as their carry-on luggage. And
now you got to admit, that's classy, okay? That's really classy.
Cramming crap everywhere.
Yeah.
Right then and there, I said, that's enough. No mas. That's it.
No mas, Tomas.
Forget it.
Yeah.
And now I drive. I had last car I traded. I had 200,000 miles on it. Nice German car, lay back, listen to the CDs, and relax. I get there within an hour of the airplane anyway.
All right. I guess I'm just going to have to take longer weekends, you know. 1,200-mile drive up there to Toronto or wherever you want to go, Boston, New York, wherever you're headed for, you know. And it's a hell of a long drive to Amsterdam. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. We've been on for 35 minutes. Still have yet to hear from anybody who got anywhere on time from Un-American Airlines. You bet I'm pissed off, man. I mean, you give them another chance and another chance, and, you know, you take the flight because you like to get there sometime before midnight, sometime in a reasonable hour in the middle of the daytime, as opposed to midnight. And then, well, guess what? We're going to be way the hell late anyway. And just like last night, finally, 3 hours late, we come back. Although, let's see, I guess we landed 2 hours late. but took off 3 hours late, and finally get to the gate, and guess what? Now the gate, and I don't know, do the gate people, they work for the airline or just for the airport? The airport?
But what do I know?
No, I think you're wrong. Yeah, well, when the hell's the last time you flew anywhere anyway, Mr. Hotshot, that drives to North Carolina all the time?
When we went to New York and then all those Vegas trips.
All those Vegas trips, and all what Vegas trips? You mean the Bob Lincoln trips?
Yeah, we went 3 times.
And you're judging you're judging the airline by those Bob Lincoln trips? That's your judgment?
Yeah. We've got about 10 or 20 flights under it.
So anyway, they can't get the goddamn jetway up to they can't line it up with the door. And another 4 or 5 minutes we're standing there huffing and puffing like, okay, please, let us out of here. Just please, let us just jump out. Maybe we'll find our way into the airport, up to the parking garage, something. Let us just, any way to get out of here. I think they work for the airline, by the way. I could be wrong. I think they're illegal aliens.
L-O-N-P-A-Y-N-U-C-K-S. I got the fever for the flavor of shingles. I got the fever. New low-fat shingles, now with a third less polydisaturated monoglutamate than that crap we were trying to sell you a few months ago. In fact, I can't even believe the FDA let us get away with all the unwholesome artery-clogging crap we're loading into our potato pussies. New low-fat shingles, lower in fat, higher in salt.
Consumer warning. Some ingredients may erode the colon, small intestine, lower abdominal wall, and are not biodegradable. All human waste matter resulting from consumption of this product must be disposed of using industrial-grade steel biohazard drums. Chingless potato chips are manufactured on the planet Krypton and are not recommended for humans.
And speaking of that, how's that Doritos grill doing? How big are they, and are they real?
They're real big.
Yeah, they're real huge, yeah. Gigantic. How come it's overhead, by the way? Basically vanished, yeah, now we're talking. Back it up, baby. Anyway. Hey, WQM invites you to the About.com QAM Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Michelob Beer Friday, September 24 at Lagomar Country Club in Plantation. Portion of the proceeds to Benefit Center 1 brought to you by QAM and Nick Cigars, where smoking perfection is achieved one cigar at a time. For more information, call 305-650-0163. Don't forget, we got the Mad Dog this week. Hank's on vacation.
Yes!
567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Here's a mobile in North Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Great.
I'm going to Vegas in October.
Uh-huh.
And I just heard you refer to America West as
America Worst. Sucks.
I've never,
Blows.
does it?
Blows.
But it's
Blows.
the only...
It's a god-awful airline.
Oh, thanks.
I would let my little miniature pincher go on that airline. I'm telling you, it
That's the only one
blows.
that flies direct.
Huh?
That's the only one that flies direct.
And you know something? I would still rather go through Dallas. And, of course, I did go last time on American, so Delta goes through Dallas or Atlanta, thank you. And even though it's a stop and it takes another hour or two extra. I mean, first of all, America West, they fly those little puddle jumper 767s, I think, at about half speed. It takes them about 5 hours and 15 minutes for a trip that should take like maybe 4:40 at the most. And it just seems like you're never, ever going to get there. In addition to which, you're gonna fly first class or coach?
Unfortunately, coach.
Oh, and you're going to fly America Worst Airlines?
Yeah, I guess.
You better have somebody bring along a shoehorn, man. I'll tell you that right now. I'm serious.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
I'm just speaking for myself. I know a lot of people like the convenience of not having to make this stop,
right.
But not for this kid. Never again.
Well, I guess we got to try it once for ourselves, and then we'll find out.
Well, let me know, okay?
You got it.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
I go on a real strict diet between now and October if you plan on sitting in coach on that airline. Although one good thing about that airline is that first class and coach are basically the same, except you got to pay a lot more to sit up front unless the Bee Gees knock you out of there. 5670560. Our poll question today: which mirror on the wall? Which is the airline that's worst of all? That's our poll question today. And other than Southwest, see, I mean, it's very nice hearing about what a great airline that is. The only problem is they don't go anywhere. That's the problem. They don't go anywhere. And let me also say this: God bless Air Canada. Now I appreciate just how good they really are, even though I'm not too crazy about their flight times getting out of here at night, but nevertheless, God bless them. Man, they know how to board the flight. There's no chaos. There's no illegal aliens. There's no 25 pieces of carry-on luggage. No people having fistfights in the goddamn aisle to try to get to their seat. Seriously, what I saw there on Friday at that airport, you could make like a mini-movie out of that. It was staggering. It was shocking. Absolute, total, and utter chaos. And then they started boarding the flight. Here's a mobile in Deerfield Beach. Hello.
Yes, Neil, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't too long ago when you would fly Delta and American that you thought you were on a real airline
Right.
and you'd get good service.
Right.
And then you start flying and service gets worse and you think, oh, this is just a one-time thing. Maybe they had a bad crew on there. Someone had a bad day. And now it's to the point where all the airlines are the same. And it doesn't matter who you take, you're still going to get lousy service.
I think you're right. Other than Air Canada, they do a good job if you happen to be going, up there somewhere. But other than that, where do they go?
Yeah, and they might as well bring People Express Airlines back. At least you know you're going to get crappy service, crappy food, and
or maybe
maybe
give Value Jet another chance. At least they had that nice clown on the side of the plane.
At least
it puts a smile on your face before you hit the Everglades.
At least People Express never crash though. And that was always a plus, although walking out...
I say, let's bring Eastern back. I used to love Eastern Airlines. It's too bad they had such crappy management and they went the way of the wind. Eastern was great.
They used to be great, but I guess they had too good a service there for a while, and people didn't want to pay for it. Or they were used to getting...
Well, they're going to pay for it now, man, because you pay for the nose no matter where you go. It's just they got this monopoly thing going and all these... they give you the propaganda that's supposed to be good for the public. The fact that they've got the alliance and you can get all the connections and everything. All it means is that there's a monopoly now thanks to deregulation, and they can charge you whatever the hell they want and get away with it.
Yeah, and try to use your frequent flyer miles if you want to book
Well, they've only got
earlier.
360 blackout dates a year.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't book it 3-4 months in advance, forget about it. They laugh at you.
Okay, pal.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
See you on your scooter. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. By the way, there's a thing in USA Today. They've got a new report card for the major cities of America. Most friendly cities for kids, kid-friendliest cities. Number 1 with an A+, Seattle. Guess who got a D, okay? How many guesses? It starts with an M and ends with an I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a D. Way down there by the bottom of the list. Right by Cleveland and Atlanta, by the way. See that Sun Sentinel article about Cleveland? How do you like that? Cleveland, they built that Jacobs Field new stadium and everything, which we're supposed to believe is what turned that city around, and it's still one of the unfriendliest cities in America toward kids. See, one thing about Miami, though, we're consistent. We're unfriendly toward everybody. Kids, adults, banana boat people, like legitimate real citizens. We don't care. Old people, young people, we're nasty to them all. We're unfriendly. It's just a generally unfriendly place. Welcome to Miami, folks. Oh! We hate everybody. We don't discriminate. We spread it around. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Got my wife off, business traveler, flying this morning, American 720 flight from Miami to L.A.
Yeah.
And, of course, usually the first morning flights out are on time, so she was on time. She called me about 9:30 from the plane.
Yeah.
Listen to this. She's sitting next to a 7-year-old kid who's flying himself. The kid's flying either home or back to South Africa. He's going to be by himself 26 hours on a plane.
Yeah.
And the kid, of course, is going nuts. He's only a 7-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell do these people let these kids fly themselves? 26 hours on a plane for a 7-year-old by himself? Shouldn't these parents be shot?
Yeah. But it's a little late now. I think maybe, that forced sterilization idea of mine, there's a classic example for it.
Another thing, how the hell does an airline fly? It's a 5.5-hour flight to L.A.
Yeah.
How do they fly a 757, which is a small plane? How do they get away with it?
Well,
when
you say how do they get away with it, what choice have you got? You get on whatever equipment that shows up there at the gate. That's it. That's what you fly. I mean, it's not like you got a choice.
I've been on the America West Vegas. They fly those Airbuses, those 320 Airbuses.
Yeah, but let me say this to you. Air Canada flies the Airbus too, but they're configured in a different way. And I mean, you can have any kind of a plane, but it all depends on how it's configured, whether it's going to be comfortable or not. The Airbuses Air Canada flies are configured great. And in first class, you've got all the room in the world. It's real comfortable. America worst, I don't know if they jammed more seats in there or what they did, but it's like a tin can.
It is, because I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, and on that red-eye back, I had a window seat, and I'm not the kind of guy that could sit on a plane. I sleep on a plane. I'm kind of antsy.
Right.
And I had to go to the restroom. You are and everybody else is sleeping around you. Do you know how hard it is to get out of that damn window seat?
Yeah.
And climb over people who are
it's
sleeping?
like a sardine can. You wind up with a red eye and a red rectum, too, from the...
Well, it's embarrassing. You got to wake people up, and they think you're a complete asshole. It's terrible.
Okay, pal. Good luck. 567. I guess the answer is stay home, huh? 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one. Drive where? Where am I going to go that I'm going to drive
not you.
to? Where do I want to go that I'm going to drive to? First of all, the last time I looked at the map, we're way in the deep south. Do I want to go any place in the deep south?
No.
See, that's one of the problems of traveling when you live in Miami. You're so goddamn far. You're at least an hour and a half away from anywhere even close to civilization. If you assume that Atlanta is close to civilization, which lately I'm not so sure. But you're like an hour and a quarter away from there by air.
Could go to Biloxi.
Yeah, like I said. I think I'll pass. El Paso. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Two of the things that the airlines are doing. The first one is, although the flight time to New York takes 2.5 hours,
right,
they put 3 in the schedule just so that they can have what they call an on time. I was on 11:65 out of Kennedy, Miami, on time at 9:20. But they took a half-hour delay and they called it ATC and ground time coming in.
Yeah.
So the game that they're playing is on
they've
time.
been doing that for years, though.
Well, no. In the past, about 5 years ago, they used to actually put the time of the flight, the block time. The block times have all been increased across the United States just to make on time published.
To give the phony idea that they're doing a better job than they are.
And then they can publish themselves as 1, 2, or 3 on the on-time list, simply based on the numbers they've added to the schedule.
I don't think there should be any on-time list anymore because it's a thing of the past. It's a figment of your imagination. It just didn't happen.
Well, if you'll remember that the Congress had several hearings concerning airlines, including American, that had people sitting on aircraft 6 hours trying to blame ATC and weather.
Right.
The actual issue was they knew that there was a delay, but to trap the passengers and not have to give meal service in the airport, they put them on the plane and sat them on the ramp for 5 hours and 6 hours.
Nice.
Those kinds of issues are really service issues that are directly related to deregulation, that you're right. They can do whatever they like because although you have options, they're not palatable. You don't
I'll
like
tell
the
you one
options.
thing, and let them try to keep me sitting on the ground on a plane for 5 or 6 hours. You think you've seen chaos before? You've seen air rage? You'd really say, I would force my way out. If I had to dig my way through the door and hop out onto the runway, I'd get off that goddamn plane.
Neil, one big thing on that issue, though, is that the airline and the U.S. Air Marshals and the police can put you in jail without recourse if you create an incident and don't follow the crew instruction.
Isn't that nice?
That's a big issue because it's almost like IRS. The IRS, previously, you were guilty. You had to prove your innocence. It's the same thing with any activity on an aircraft in which you interfere with the crew once they close the door.
And don't forget.
Please don't say the F word.
Yeah. They also got the language police on the planes now, too. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that you can find any airline to be the best airline. However, international carriers still have the old airline philosophy. So Lufthansa, SAS, Japan Airlines are all doing what you normally think of as good airline service, but very few domestic U.S. are actually providing service.
Amen. Okay, thanks a lot, pal.
Right, sir.
So in other words, hop on a plane and go abroad. Go someplace. Get the hell out of here. That's the message. I think I may try that this week, 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. He's right. The international carriers, they treat you a whole different world, different ball game. And it's amazing when you're flying somewhere that's 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 hours, and you can get there on time, and sometimes even a few minutes early, over and over again. I mean, just time in and time out. And yet here, 2.5-hour trips, 3-hour flights, can't get there, baby, no matter how much money you're willing to cough up, no matter how much we'll squeeze out of you. Oh, and by the way, your frequent flyer miles, well, here's the good news. The good news is we're not going to let them expire after 2 minutes like we used to in the past, but the bad news is now we're going to triple the amount of miles it takes to get like your upgrade or whatever else you're looking for. And we'll also triple the number of blackout dates just to be a bunch of pricks because we don't really want to give you any goddamn free travel is what it's really all about. It's all a scam.
In theaters now, from the directors of Muppets from Space, it's Muppets from Japan. Muppets from Japan.
11 o'clock at 560 WQM. Hank is on vacation this week. We're at the Mad Dog through the 6, and then the good news stops abruptly at that point. It gets really grim.
Joe Zagacki sucks.
Yeah, and he'll be on at 6 till 10. Ed Kaplan has to follow that. Let's all say Kaddish for the Ed Kaplan show for is that going to go on any more this week, by the way? Let's see, we got baseball. Oh, that's right. And look at that on Thursday. We got the Arizona Diamondback Marlin game from PP Park. Let's hear it. 12:30. Early departure time here on Thursday. That sounds good to me. All right. By the way, you notice when I did the Dolphins-San Diego game on Saturday night, I tried to do the same kind of staccato sound that Zimfer always does, you know, that kind of like driven out of a computer voice. And I think did a pretty effective job. Most people thought it was Zimfer. 5670560. What is that you're doing? You're chopping up a goddamn Slim Jim to share? Is that how desperate we are?
Bite it in half.
Bite it in half. Joe will have no problem with that, just as long as you don't do it with your feet, tear it apart with your toes. Oh, I could see that, huh? A little toe jam on the edge there. That would be it. He'd go running out of the room screaming like a child.
Oh, remember Stinky
Mr.
Whiskey
Motto,
Buttons? On that,
what is it?
Tom Green tape when he was doing Stinky Whiskey Buttons?
Yeah.
We should tie Joe down and make him watch that.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I guess we'll have to start thinking about some Atkins lunch for today, huh? I mean, some serious Atkins today, boy. And for the next 3 or 4 days. All I ate yesterday was crap. All I ate was candy and a bunch of crap and lost 2 pounds. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Of course, when you got a 3-hour layover in the airport, you got plenty of time to go and make a deposit, like going to the bank several times, you know. Here's another deposit, and there's another one for you. Here's Coconut Creek. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How's it hanging?
Okay.
I got a story for you. I met a girl, a stewardess from American Airlines, lives in Sunrise.
A Stewie, yeah.
And she used to tell me how she used to drop acid before she used to go on the planes.
Yeah.
And not one hit, but multiple hits.
Uh-huh.
And she would tell me that if she partied too hard with the other stewardesses the night before, and if they were late for the plane, she one time took a frying pan and hit her face with the frying pan and came into the airport and being late for the flight.
Well,
and
she was
everything.
a little fried, so I guess it kind of tied in, huh?
Definitely. And she claimed to fall in the bathtub, and that's why she was late, and then she let herself go. And they let her go.
Let her go. Okay, well, thanks for the good news. Okay, so here's another good reason. You know, there's an old line, payback is a bitch, and I think today is the day, boys and girls, all you people at Un-American Airlines, for the tremendous service you're giving the public. Not. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. I will say that sitting in 3B, which is the bulkhead seat in first class last night as I was coming back, you get to hear all the conversation up there in the cockpit and in the galley. Isn't that what they call it, the galley, Sally? And before we had taken off, all they were talking about, I can understand with the guy, the married guy, because he was a real good-looking guy, but all they were talking about was their sex lives. That's all they were talking about was sex. Make sure your seats buckle on. Anyway, so it was about this big, and it was pretty interesting. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Fly to Seattle twice a year. Been doing it for 16 years.
Yeah.
I fly Delta. Delta used to be great.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 or 3 years, it's terrible. I'm 6'2". I fly coach because I've got 2 kids and my wife. I can't afford to fly first class.
I don't know how you do it. I really don't. I don't want to sound, I'm not being sarcastic when I say that, but I just don't know how people fly coach today. They've got the seats are down to like sardine size.
And in addition, it's 6.5 hours flying time. That's not layover time.
Right.
The other scenario is that it used to be where you could get an hour and a half layover between if you're flying from Fort Lauderdale to Dallas, and that should give you enough time. But what they do now is you get away from the jetway. It's 45 minutes waiting to taxi. You get to the taxi spot, you're number 9 in line.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're talking an hour and a half.
Oh, and by the way, here's another thing too. Taking off on Friday, almost 2 hours late, and any other airline I've ever been on, when the captain comes on and says, "Flight attendants prepare for takeoff," that means you're next in line to take off, and you're going to be taken off in 30 seconds, maybe a minute. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of flying. Every time the captain comes on and says, "Prepare for takeoff," that means you're going to take off. Wrong, not an American. He says this on Friday, and we're sitting there and waiting and edging around. It was like I counted 9 minutes before we finally took off. Same thing with landing. Flight attendants, please prepare for landing. And they ring the bell and the whole deal. Does that Friday night. He rings the bell. Flight attendants prepare for landing. And now it's like another 9-10 minutes before we finally hit the ground, so to speak. That's a bad expression, hit the ground.
The other
landing.
thing is, I talk, because there's so much doggone flying time, I talked to some of the flight attendants, and for the most part, they're trying to do a good job with a bad situation.
Yeah.
And they said, listen, you folks asked for it. You're getting, I said, the seats are terrible. The food is absurd. I says, this is, they got to do better than this. And they go, hey, you guys, this is what you guys wanted. This is what you guys got.
Well, what does that? What does that mean? It's what we wanted.
I think what it meant was initially the fares went down, but like you said a little while ago, after a while, there's no cheap fares anymore.
No way.
It's just expensive fares and bad
squeeze
service.
every ounce of blood out of your body. I mean, they just rape you.
It's crazy. Anyway, keep up the good work. One shameless request.
Yes, sir.
We haven't heard it in a long time. The bridge tender.
Have a great day. What do you want?
No.
Oh, I guess you wanted. There you go. Little taste. 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T line. A search for a real airline, boys and girls, here in America. A search for an airline that actually makes an effort at boarding on time, getting you out of the wherever you want to go on, close to on time, somewhere within an hour would be good. And any success so far?
No.
Anybody called in an hour and 5 minutes yet to tell us they actually got somewhere on time on American sometime in the last 5 years?
No.
No. Not yet. Trying to be fair. We're probing. We're searching. We're, waiting. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make a couple comments on American West. I fly a couple times a year to Vegas. I used to fly a lot more to Vegas, and I just got back Friday morning.
Right.
Which is going to be a little better news. They upgraded already the planes. They bought new Airbuses. The first class is much better than it used to be. I used to hate that first class in Airbus.
Oh. Yeah, in fact, I'll tell you how bad it was before. The way they had the plane configured, the emergency exit seats in coach were more comfortable than the first class seats.
I really don't fly coach. I really don't know what coach looks like. But what I'm trying to tell you is I just got back Friday morning. The plane was old. I hated it. He couldn't move. I was going up there with a brand new plane, 4.5 hours to get to Vegas.
Yeah.
It never used to be that way. It used to be 5.5 hours,
Right.
5 in 13 minutes.
Right.
But I've been flying with them for 10 years with American West, and I think they're trying to get better.
So in other words, you're saying they've eliminated the old puddle jumpers?
Yeah, they're trying to get better, but they're trying to copy Air Canada right now, too.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
So that's what I was trying to make a comment. American West is getting better. And I only fly Continental American West. I don't like American. I hate American.
Thanks for the good news, pal.
You can never get upgraded.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go, America West. So maybe that's what because they never flew the Airbus when I flew America West. It was always those 767s like Martin Scare. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. 5670560 pound 560. Oh, by the way, did we hear from our friend about that? No, I can't. Woody, I'm sorry. You're a good guy with a ponytail, but my life, I just can't leave my life hanging in that guy's hands. Wind up again at that horrible place up there in Palm Beach County, the Pneumonia Palace, Coral Sky Amphitheater. My ass. Even the Greeks wouldn't go there, I'll tell you that right now. Coral Sky Amphitheater. Pouring down rain, the wind is blowing, it's like sitting out, it would be like sitting in the middle of Houston right now, in the middle of a hurricane. Without an umbrella, without a goddamn jacket, without a goddamn piece of saran wrap, anything. Give me some help here, Woody, huh? Sitting 50 miles away. Hey, you got any good binoculars? How about the Mount Palomar telescope? Maybe we can see the stage, huh? No. Maybe we can see which one is Nick. Oh, sorry, she'll call again. She'll get all psychotic. He's got more talent in his little thing.
Nope.
It's 11:14 at 560 WQAM. Inspiration came from getting stoned. Did you see this story, by the way? It's all over the world now. I sure hope that the DEA people don't see this story. And by the way, how about George W.? This hurricane that's going over to Texas now, you understand what this is all about, don't you? You get it?
Uh-huh.
God is pissed off, man, at that coke-snorting governor. That's what he's pissed off about, this Texas bullcrap. Well, I'm not going to answer the question, and maybe I never stole a freight train, and at least in the last 25 years, and I was only a child, I was 28. Since when is 28 a child, by the way? And how come he's putting people 28 and 25 and 20 and 18 in jail every day for snorting cocaine and buying it and owning it and selling it, whatever else they're doing with it, but he don't want to answer the goddamn question. Oh, it is just juicy and lovely to see the shoe on the other foot now. Poor Bubba with that did you inhale business. We had to go through a big song and a dance about that, about the wacky weed. And now we got a big song and a dance about this guy who just, who stands for absolutely nothing. Nobody's got any idea where he stands on anything except usually on the wrong side. But, he don't want to answer the question. But here's the best news of all. Inspiration came from getting stoned. The late astronomer and author Carl Sagan was a secret but avid marijuana smoker. Did you know that?
Yeah, man.
Crediting it with inspiring essays and scientific insight, according to Sagan's biographer. Using the pseudonym Mr. X, Sagan wrote about his pot smoking in an essay published in 1971, a book called Reconsidering Marijuana. The book's editor, Lester Grinspoon, recently disclosed the secret to Sagan's biographer, what kind of a name is that? K-E-A-Y? K-E-A-Y Davidson. Davidson, a writer for the San Francisco Examiner, revealed the marijuana use in an article published in the newspaper's magazine on Sunday. Carl Sagan, A Life. The book is due out in October. I find that today a single joint is enough to get me high. In one movie theater recently, I found I could get high just by inhaling the cannabis smoke which permeated the theater, wrote Sagan, who authored popular science books such as Cosmos, Contact, and the Dragons of Eden. In the essay, Sagan, who died at age 62 in 1996, said pot inspired some of his intellectual work. I can remember on one occasion taking a shower with my wife while high, in which I had an idea on the origins and invalidities of racism in terms of Gaussian distribution curves, wrote the former Cornell University professor. I wrote the curves in soap on the shower wall and went to write the idea down. How do you like that? Inspired by smoking just one little joint.
Yeah, man.
Huh? I sure hope he didn't drop the soap, by the way. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless phone. So the good news is you might be a genius, come up with some wild and great discoveries and theories, magical theories, by smoking a wacky weed. The bad news is he died, he was 62. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil. How are you doing?
Okay, sir.
Good. First time caller. Just want to give you a ring about the airlines.
Yes, sir.
The worst one in the world is also apparently the world's favorite airline, British Airways. It's the worst airline.
I hate British Airways. They should only croak. They're the ones that stuck me that time coming from Amsterdam to London to come back here, and they had fog there, and they wouldn't call up to the goddamn gate to hold the plane for another 3 or 4 minutes. So 7 of us who were making a connecting flight could get on there. I run all the way through Heathrow. I get to the gate. Oh, that plane left 2 minutes ago. That's British scare for you, man.
You know what? The aircraft are great, but it's the flight attendants. They all think that because they work for British Airways, they've all got this attitude.
Is that what it is? Because I asked her. I'm right up there. I said, can you get on your thing there and call ahead to the gate and let them know that there are 7 people coming off this Amsterdam flight who have a connection to Miami. Just hold the flight another 4 or 5 minutes and we can all make it. Oh, no problem. This fog will delay all the flights. You don't have to worry. Guess what? Wrong.
Yep, that's it. And my favorite one, Virgin.
Virgin Atlantic,
I
yeah.
think is the best.
I love having Austin Powers on the outside. Yeah.
Do you know why? You know, Virgin also fly the oldest jumbo jet in the world. They've had it reconditioned, but it's the oldest one in the world.
Yeah.
And it also has downstairs in the galley, they've got bunks for the flight attendants so they can go and take a nap.
Right.
And they also have the cutest flight attendants, and I've been down and visited them.
And they also have the masseuse in upper class.
That's
too.
it.
That's right.
But my favorite
they won't rub you the wrong way. That's the motto.
Oh, they will. If you smile enough at them.
I'll bet.
My favorite airline used to be World Airways. Do you remember those?
No.
They used to have one class on the whole flight. There was lots of room. All the flight attendants were great. You paid a cheap price for the ticket, and everyone was really good. You had lots of room. It was just an excellent airline. But of course, they went belly up.
Yeah.
Like all the best ones do.
We're all screwed.
Yeah.
Okay, pal. Tally ho.
Okay, keep it up.
Ta-ta. Cheers. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line as we continue the search for the perfect marijuana joint, the search for the perfect airline, the search for something. Not perfect, just decent, just acceptable would be good. Just reasonable. Are we getting it?
No.
No. Now how come at this... Oh, here we go. But he starts breathing heavy. I'll get him up. All right. Excellent. 567-0560. That's what it means to send your kids to college, all you people out there. You just heard it. 567-0560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Pompano. Hello.
Yeah, Neil, 2 months ago, flew to Jamaica. Big group, half of us on Air Jamaica, half of us on American Airlines. Torrential rainstorm leaving Miami.
Yeah, man.
American Airlines has a policy. They don't take off
if there's a cloud in the sky.
for the safety of the ground crew
Yeah.
because of lightning. American Airlines, my friends were already at the resort, 3 joints ahead of me. We're still sitting there 5 hours in the plane on American Airlines.
So in other words, what was the other, Jamaica Airlines? Air Jamaica? Yeah.
But the smell's bad.
Well, nothing's perfect. Okay, thanks for the good news, okay? So bring a nose clip, but they'll get you there on time. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. We're down to a couple of precious calls, and I can see we have a nice peaceful lunch here today. Yeah, we can have a nice peaceful lunch, play a little bit of music, a little bit of I do, I don't. Here's a mobile in Coral Springs. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me throw my hat in the ring as far as air travel.
Uh-huh.
The bitch I have is going to be with Delta. They have a way of manipulating their on-time departures. When they have a ground delay in Atlanta, and like if you're in the Carolinas or in Tennessee, they'll have you board the aircraft, pull you away from the gate, and leave you on the tarmac for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They might not get you in the frickin' air, but so long as they pull away from the gate,
On time.
you got it.
Yeah.
That blows. Take care, buddy.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so far, now, I don't understand, after all this time, how come this one guy tells me that America West is flying different planes now, the Airbus? Because somebody said it before, and I just wasn't really paying that much attention, because I never flew no Airbus on America West before. Now, if that's the case, and they're still flying nonstop, and they get you there in less than 25 hours to Vegas, that's not too bad. But in the old days, it was a nightmare. Even that's what I think what did an Andy Gibb. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Miami Beach. Hello.
Good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to let everybody know that our Metro-Dade Police Department is hard at work pulling people over in the Publix parking lot, gave them tickets for having too dark of a window.
Oh, the window tinting police are out today. Excellent.
Yes, sir. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the good news. Okay, one last call on the board, and then we can take a nice nap. I need a good nap, after getting home about 1 o'clock in the morning last night, thanks to American Airlines. Oh, there were was there big storms here yesterday? I mean, I could see there had been a lot of rain. But was like at the end of the world here yesterday?
Not at night, no.
No, I'm talking about during the daytime.
Not really.
Because the plane was 3 hours. The plane that was coming from Miami to Toronto, which is the one that we had to wait 3 hours for last night.
Early on, like around midday, there were some showers, yeah.
That was 3 hours late. And then the captain comes on and says, oh, it was gigantic, horrible storms in Miami and the whole airport was tied up and yada. And I'm not saying that he made that up or anything, but it just sounded a little fantastic. 3 hour delay, like it must have been the end of the world here. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We've come to the end of the line here today, I do believe, boys and girls. We've hit a brick wall. Here's Miami. Hello.
I'd like to talk Miami Hurricane football.
Yeah, good. Go look in the mirror and talk to yourself, okay, asshole? See what I'm saying? I like to talk Miami Hurricane. Nobody cares, okay, jackass? Get a life. Get a freaking life. Grow up. Here's a mobile in Delray Beach. Hello.
Hi.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Neil, I saw something on 2020 or whatever about, the nut the gun nut that killed the kids in the Jewish Center out in L.A.?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where his gun came from?
Yes, Seattle Police Department.
Is that unbelievable?
No.
I mean,
why is that unbelievable? That's what happens to guns. I mean, they're all over the place. So, there's this is what happens when you have no meaningful laws. Nobody wants to register a gun. You can register your car, that's okay, but God forbid you should have to register a handgun.
I mean, it astounded me. I mean, because obviously, the police are huge users of guns.
Yeah.
But they sell them to the people that are shooting at them. I don't see the logic or rationale there. I mean, there are laws now.
Sir, I hate to break the news to you, but things happen to guns. All these people who buy guns to protect themselves, the guns get stolen sometimes. The guns are used in the commission of crimes. The guns are used to kill people. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure when you got 225 million guns is the estimate now running around in the country of 270 million people, that almost one per person, or just about one for every adult.
Exactly, but the police department are such gross users of guns. They use such a large quantity.
Yeah.
It makes such good sense that they would destroy them if they're done with them. It's incomprehensible to me that they just say, well, here, go ahead, let's put them out on the streets, and you guys now can shoot at us with our guns. That's the American fucking way. I don't know. Did you see the letter in the letter to the editor today of Sun Sentinel about the guy who wrote a really eloquent statement about how a ballpark
Yes,
obviously
I did. That was great.
hats off to the man.
Yes,
That's
sir.
all.
God bless him. Thank you. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Like I said, this audience, they don't go anywhere. And the fact that you don't see that I'm the only one that cares, I guess, they're going to keep doing it to you. They're keep taking your money. And because I'm watching the way these people are, and they're so submissive now, and like a bunch of cattle, like sheep, they don't say anything. So I guess you don't care. I must be just a hard ass, you know what? Spend that kind of money, spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every year flying, and expect a little bit of service, a little bit of attempt, a little concern to try to get you from point A to point B, and you people don't give a crap. In addition to which, I guess you want to be able to take your goddamn life possessions and stick them in there like like a goddamn locker. Like one of those places you rent, one of those you rent them places where you rent a locker and you put all your goddamn, like when you're moving or something. Put about 5 rooms of furniture in there. Oh, no, I'll just put it in the overhead here instead.
Why are you airing shit like this?
The concert ended with burning trees. Playing on stage was a naked flea. Chili Peppers, Red Hot's their name. There goes Woodstock, up in flames. $12 for a slice, but that pissed the people off. But burning merchandise was a hell of a send-off. Woodstock riot, riot. Upset that they didn't play. Woodstock riot, riot. You could blame it on Sugar Ray. Woodstock riot, riot. It started on the last day. Woodstock riot, riot. I hope they're still stuck on the thruway. Yeah! You're behind bars. Restaurant cars. A show that opened up with old James Brown ended up with the burning to the ground. Knocked down 2 towers, a crazy night. Carson Daly ran for his life. I think it's fair to say only some kids ruined the show. Thanks to this melee, they forgot the peace and love. Woodstock riot, riot. It started on the last day. Woodstock riot, riot. Hope they're still stuck on the thruway. Yeah! All right.
It's 11:32 at 560 WQM. Here we are in the halls of death, man. You can smell it. You can feel it. Just open a window. There it is, that smell, that stench of rotting flesh. That's South Florida for you, baby. 567. Look at this. I'm going to tell you right now, and this isn't brain surgery. Any place else in the world, somebody comes on here that's got more than 5 people listening and brings this thing up, and if we'd be smoking here today, people would be foaming at the mouth, just unleashing. I heard more stories from the 3 or 4 people I talked to in the airport last night waiting than I'm going to hear all morning here today. What is it that moves and motivates you people in this town? What is it that gets them off their goddamn dead ass? Oh, can we talk about Hurricane football?
No.
No. God, it's a source of endless astonishment to me. What a dead-ass place this is. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Palm Beach. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Just want to throw in my 2 cents on travel. This summer I just drove my kids up to Wisconsin with my wife. Flew back. I got one flyer ticket, but I went from Green Bay to Detroit to Newark, and then down into West Palm Beach.
Jesus Christ.
Exactly. I don't like to...
Green Bay to Detroit, Detroit to Newark, Newark to West Palm. Excellent.
West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
West Palm Beach. In the airport for over 12 hours. I don't like to fly at all. My wife takes me to Straubel Field in Green Bay. 6:30, we get there. My plane's supposed to leave at 7:20. I had one beer, got on the plane, flew into Detroit, and I had a 2.5-hour layover that turned into a 3-hour layover.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got in, I actually sat near Jerry Cooney, or he sat next to him on the plane over. Interesting story, when the plane started taking off down the runway and getting up into the air, he pulled out the New Testament, started reading that. Anyway, I was in
Great.
Anyway, I was in Newark for from 1:55 to 7:30 before I flew in, and then on the way back, I had a better flight because I was driving the wife and kids back down to West Palm Beach. I was supposed to fly from West Palm to Detroit, from Detroit to Green Bay. Well, on the approach to Detroit, they had so many bad thunderstorms that I had to land anyway in Columbus, Ohio, and wait there for 3 hours, take off, and this is on Continental Northwest. Now, Northwest wasn't that bad. Continental was just very poor, so I had to make an extra takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
It's a miserable experience. The airports weren't bad. The bars were okay, but in the airplane, less than be desired. I'd rather drive.
Okay, I'm glad you had a good time. Thanks. Okay, 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. 600 open lines here. For, like I said, we hit a brick wall. This is not a topic that the South Florida audience has any interest in whatsoever, because like I said, most people here don't go anywhere. Most of them are illegal aliens anyway, so how the hell can they go anywhere without a green card, a visa, or a passport? Here's Hallandale. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Neil.
Yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to say, I used to travel on American Airlines, but one thing, and this is really incredible to imagine this, right before the flight, I was in the parking garage, and I was smoking weed, and then it turned out that the person I was smoking with was a flight attendant on American Airlines.
Well, that's a step up from the acid we heard about last hour.
Oh, man, I mean, come on.
Excellent. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. That's probably an American Airlines employee, no doubt. You can try to turn it on around all you want, folks. You suck. Let's face it. That's the bottom line. Your service sucks. Forget about the Chateaubriand and the pheasant under glass and the goddamn duck à l'orange and all of that crap. Nobody in their right mind gets on an airplane to go a 2.5-hour flight or expects a gourmet meal, okay? They would like to get there sometime before their life ends. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, that guy was a pilot for American Airlines.
Probably.
America West does fly Airbuses.
Since when?
Well, I've been doing it for 2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Out of Miami, yep. Direct flight out of Miami.
Well, must be only on certain flights, because I never flew an Airbus on that airline.
It's the nighttime flight. It's the A320. It's a direct flight. And a matter of fact, some idiot made me check my garment bag because he said there was no room on the plane for it.
Yeah.
So when I get on the plane, of course, guess what? There's a ton of room.
Mm-hmm.
But they do suck. Anyway, have a good one.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, maybe they are A3. I don't know, but they just don't. They're not configured the same way as the Air Canada A320s, and it can be whatever the hell it is. But it all depends on how. It's like your house. It can be just like your the next door neighbor's house. They can be identical, but that doesn't mean what the crap you got, the furniture and everything inside is all arranged the same way as far as your comfort is concerned. All depending on how many people they want to jam in there. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. 22 before noon. At 560 WQAM.
Florida sucks.
Wow, it's really hot out. This sucks.
Did someone say it's really hot out and this sucks?
Yeah.
Well, I've got just the thing for you.
Oh, gross.
It's the all-new Blow brand air conditioner.
Oh, man, what did you eat?
There's nothing like a sweet, cool breeze on a hot, blustery day, right?
Yeah. Could you stop doing that, please?
Well, Blow brand is the best.
Fine, back off.
Can you imagine just one more day of this hot stuff?
No.
Then pick up the phone and call Blow brand air conditioning today.
Oh, yuck. Here, you depress me. Go away.
Blow brand air conditioning. Loud and annoying, but works great.
And it blows. It's 11:43 at 560 WQAM. So our buddy Chuck from the Sub Center just brought me over 600 pounds of cold cuts. This should be good for lunch for what, about 2 months? Thanks, Chuck. Boy, talk about a sense of humor. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT. Say it with me, okay? Un-American sucks. Let's hear it. Un-American blows. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
You know, I'm amazed that you don't have 2 million callers today because traveling is such a travesty
I don't
today.
and this is the reason they get away with it, because they've conditioned people. I've always said this: the American people will accept whatever crap you dish out to them.
I don't know. You know, in business, we don't have our choice. We can't wait for 3 weeks to get a better fare. Sometimes you just have to make it to a meeting. So you're paying top dollar.
Right.
They're wondering why there's airport rage, because you get there, you're paying top dollar, and somebody's screwing around with your life all day long.
Right.
You know, I had a flight that was supposed to be taken off at 1:30, get to the airport, it's canceled. Finally take off at 5:30, get to Atlanta to jump on the other flight. Sit in the airplane for an hour and a half before they canceled because of mechanical difficulties. I ended up walking into my house at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and then they have the balls to send me a $75 credit check because of my inconvenience. What a waste. I nailed it right back to him and said, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah. I'd tell them where to stick it. Okay, pal.
That's it.
Thanks for the good news. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Almost 2 hours now. Have we heard from anybody happy with American Airlines? Huh? What is wrong with this thing now? All of a sudden it's not working. Like I said. No. Just relax, okay? I got my thumb on it. Here's a mobile in Miramar. Hello.
Neil, God.
Yes, sir.
Now, Neil, you see, you gave me flashbacks now. 3 years ago, I went into a different career. I don't travel as much anymore, but prior to that, for 15 years, I get to see the degradation of the airlines as we know it. And, of course, you know, all the good ones are no longer in business
It's getting
anymore.
worse by the minute, by the second.
The good ones went Mahala, but the ones that are left are a piece of crap. Of course, America being the worst. Now, one thing you didn't mention is I think American has the least amount of legroom out of any airline I've ever flown. I mean, they try to jam you in there. I mean, I'm a fairly big guy. I can't even hardly get my tuchus in the seat. And so then I got smart and I said, all right, I'm going to ride in the, what is it, the escape, where the escape windows
the escape
are.
hatch, yeah, the exit.
They give you more legroom there, except then the problem is they've got some alpacacas in there that couldn't lift up this thing to save their life. I mean, what kind of screening is going on with the people that are in those rows? They're supposed to be people that can aid and help you
that's right.
in the event of an emergency.
If you're a child or not physically able to open it up, then you got to get your ass out of there.
Exactly. And I've seen them put kids in there, and where they have moved them. But what about the older people, 70, 80-year-old people that don't even know where the hell they're alive?
Oh,
they're not, I mean, come on. But they must have figured out how to be able to give you the least amount. I mean, you can't put the tray back. There's no way you can put the tray back.
My experience in coach on Friday was my last experience in coach ever. I don't care how much I have to pay. I'll never sit in coach again. And I was on the aisle, okay? I was the lucky one. I was able to
so you
pick
got
my
to
seat
hang out in the aisle.
So I hung out in the aisle. And luckily there was a girl, I'd say about 15, sitting in the middle, and a little girl sitting on the end who was with another family. So that wasn't too bad. But I'm looking at some of these other people. The Julio sitting behind me, the row across, he must have weighed 350 easy, and how the hell the three of them were sitting across beats the hell out of me.
Right now, I don't know what about these people? They must not take a bath. They come in smelling like chicken soup.
Yeah.
The whole place stinks.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to ride in first class. You just about have to. I mean, it used to be bad. I used to have the rabbi next to me smelling like chicken soup. Now it's every Julio and every.
Now even the Goyim.
Oh my God! You're killing me.
Okay,
why
pal.
did you even bring up this thing?
That's right. It's a depressing way to start the week, and I apologize. You're right. Do I apologize?
No.
No effing way. Because I'm the one guy, I'll be pissed off and fired up. If nobody else gives a crap, I do. I do. You know what I'm saying? Here's a mobile in Sunrise. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I'm a frequent flyer. I probably fly about 40 weeks out of the year for my company, and all airlines suck. Everyone. It seems that they make so much money, they don't care about the public anymore. You go on these flights, they're so full, you can hardly get on, any time. And it's ridiculous. They make so much money, they just don't care. And, in fact, I had a real good experience with Delta. And, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. So, well, I'm on a mobile and it's hard to hear.
No problem.
Anyway, I was in, I think, Charlotte or someplace, and I get a page at 3 o'clock in the morning in a hotel room. My wife's on her phone, and she goes, I just got a call from Delta. Your flight in the morning is going to be 45 minutes late. And I says, what the hell they call you at 3 o'clock in the morning for? Anyway, long story short, I called Delta. Delta don't care. They really don't. Well, that's our policy. But they woke my wife up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well, American,
in Florida.
listen to this. I'm coming back from Toronto yesterday. American Airlines calls my home in Plantation and leaves a message on the machine that the flight is going to be delayed because of weather or whatever. Now, how in the world am I going to get that message when I'm 1,200 miles away from here? What's the sense in that?
Unbelievable. I tell you, they have idiots working. So I
and better than that, when I checked in, because when you're flying international, you always have to check in. When I checked in, the guy never said anything about the flight being late. I show him on my passport.
No,
he gives me the ticket. Boarding is 6 o'clock. And guess what? The flight ain't leaving till 8:45.
Yep.
Okay, pal. Good luck to us all. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. So what possessed Chuck to bring me 425 pounds of cold cuts today?
Nisi makes those
Was
things.
it something that you said? What?
Nisi makes those things.
What is it that possessed Nisi to give me 682 pounds of cold cuts here today?
I just said don't cut the meat.
Oh. So that's our philosophy. Don't cut the meat, just cut the crap. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Neil,
Yes, I am.
how are you?
Great.
It was 9:05 when we took off last night.
Yeah.
And this is Renee, the travel agent at
Yes,
the
sir.
airport. How are you?
Great.
You'd be glad you weren't sitting in coach.
Now, what row were you in?
I was in 13. Our friend was in
Oh, that-
23.
Oh, 23. Ray Whitney was back in 23.
Yes.
At least he was safe anyway. Thank God for Ray. Yeah, he was safe.
He was
I was
safe.
worried about him.
Yeah, well, he was nice and comfy back there reading his magazine, looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
Looking at the pictures. So we had a choice of...
Yeah.
We had a choice of...
Please tell these
pasta.
people I'm not making this story up, okay?
You're not making this story up. It was a joke last night. But it was nice and entertaining watching the kids running around being babysitted by everybody but their parents,
Mm-hmm.
running up and down that escalator.
Oh yeah, this is another part. This is another part I forget about. Okay, here's this 3-hour delay. You got everybody who's going to be on the plane now. By this time, everybody and their brother is already sitting in the lounge area waiting to get on the goddamn plane. And all these people, of course, have little kids. I think some of them just kidnapped the little kids just so they can bring them into the airport to create chaos and mayhem. And they're running up and down the walkways and the wrong way, backwards and sideways. And they've got what look like little spear guns or something. Okay, and they're like shooting crap off and hitting people in the leg, and just no parents around, nobody to be seen. It's just all a little extra added attractions.
Let me ask you this. That little blonde-headed girl who must have been about 7 or 8 running up and forth, back and forth to first class,
Yeah.
was her mother sitting next to you?
No.
No?
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, she was sitting next to me. Now, that mother, by the way, she looked to me like somebody famous.
Didn't she?
Yeah, she looked like somebody I've seen on television. And I wasn't going to say there, we had a little bit of conversation, but not too much. I wasn't going to say, who are you? Aren't you somebody? What are you going to say?
Right. Very attractive, very
Yeah, she looked very
mm-hmm. Putting her kids back in coach so everybody back there can babysit. That was
In
nice.
fact, when Ray Whitney came on the plane, I was going to, just pull a little spoof and say, hey, Ray, I'd like you to meet my wife. I don't think he would have bought it.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay, Renee.
All right, you have a great one.
Good seeing you.
You too.
Glad you made it.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Thank God for meeting those guys, because at least that killed about 2.5 hours of time as we stood there with some raucous conversation in the goddamn airport. So I didn't have to go over and bother my good close personal friend Ray Whitney. 56705. Well, something. See, if somebody would have introduced me to him a long time ago, then I would have gone over and chatted with him because I would know him. I don't want to mention any names, George, like your best close personal friend that should have introduced me to him a long time ago. Somebody that was always giving me a big song and dance. Oh, we're going to have lunch with Dean Jordan. See, I don't want to have lunch with Dean Jordan. I would have rather had lunch with Ray Whitney, okay? Somebody I would like to know, as opposed to some pud-whacking goofball who's long gone anyway. But I don't want to mention no names, okay? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Probably somebody who didn't appreciate some of those great meals at Ruth's Chris as much as he should have.
They stunk.
Okay, well, we did the best we could for you. Maybe New York Prime will be better. Huh? No, I'm not going to mention no names.
They stunk.
But for Christ's sakes, how about and Robbie Niedermeyer? I get to buy him lunch 5 years ago, whenever the hell it was. Robbie Niedermeyer. Not a bad kid, but Jesus Christ, we know what he's all about. No heart, no guts, no nothing, no production. Here's Sunrise. Hello. Sunrise.
This is Dave. How you doing?
Okay, sir.
Listen, I got a story for you. Friday night, I'm coming from Cancun. 6:30 flight on American. It's delayed to 7:15, right?
That's not bad for them.
Well, 8:30 comes around. It's still delayed. They said the plane hasn't even left Miami yet, right?
Yeah.
9:45 comes around. They stuffed people in there. They said, as soon as we're going in the plane, the stewardess comes on and says, well, listen, people, if you don't sit down within 15 minutes, we're going to go illegal, and this plane is not even going to take off. So after 3 hours of waiting, they tell us that. So everybody's yelling and everything, and some fat bitch stewardess gets off the plane, and tells everybody, well, I can't work past 10 hours a day. It's against the union law or whatever.
Fucking bitch.
So,
Yeah.
that bitch. So I say we boycott Americans. Screw them all.
All right.
Boycott Americans.
All right.
All right, Neil.
Thanks. There's another pissed off traveler out there. I'm surprised we haven't heard from 20 or 30,000 of those people already today. Although maybe most of those people are lost somewhere and couldn't make it back home. Maybe that's the problem. Bunch of deadheads. Bunch of suckers, man. You just take it sitting down. You don't open up your mouth. And let me say it again. The longer people do this, underneath it, there's going to be a simmering rage. You mark my word. And there are going to be an increasing number of really ugly episodes in the airports, on the aircraft, which is a very dangerous and unacceptable thing. But nevertheless, you can only push people so far and abuse them so much before they crack, before they snap. I can't even begin to imagine. Remember those thousands and thousands of people when the pilots went on strike with American months ago, and all those people in the airport? Well, guess what? Screw you. You're screwed. That's all. Just have somebody bring your life possessions to the airport and camp out here for a couple of months because you're screwed. You're stuck. And we don't give a crap. We got issues to deal with. And how did you like the Chateaubriand, by the way? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. How come a big shot like Ray Whitney is sitting way the hell back there in row 23? That's what I would like to know. You people in that organization, you better start taking better care of your superstars. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to have to deal with me. You're going to have to come face to puss with me. And then you'll be really sorry.
If you can't get enough of the likes of Dr. Laura, how about this?
Oh, Dr. Radio!
That's right. It's nothing but those syndicated self-help talk shows to help you agonize 24 hours a day.
Honey, please turn it off. It's that stupid... Oh, Dr. Radio!
We knew you'd be excited.
Debuting tonight is Dr. Joy Brown following Dr. Laura. Then Dr. Judy, Dr. Will, Dr. Sue, Dr. Cat, Dr. Ida, Dr. Doolittle and Dr. Dre, Dr. Hook and Dr. T. And wrap it up with foot advice from Dr. Show. Right here on...
Jeez, will you shut off that stupid... Oh, Dr. Radio!
Hey, if you think you're already sick of stations who play nothing but music, well, you don't know sick, because we're going to put you over the edge tonight on...
Oh, Dr. Radio!
It's 12:01 at 560 WQAM. By the way, speaking of bleh, don't forget, 6 to 10 tonight here on QAM, and we're pretty goddamn embarrassed about it. It's getting to be a regular thing. People are like swooning in the hallway when they look at the schedule. People who ordinarily just take the schedule from Bluff and just, whatever, they're starting to throw it back in his puss. And he's taking it personal, by the way. 5670560, pound 560. Is he taking it personal?
Nope.
That's good. Because we'd hate to see him get upset about it. By the way, the flight attendant, the guy that I was talking about that had the wedding band, that was from American last night, the good-looking guy, he's having surgery, oral surgery. He's got a cracked tooth. I can tell you the whole story because I was sitting right there at the... I mean, it's not like, are we going to get there on time? I mean, is there any chance we're ever going to land? No, none of that. It's always all this, like, who's getting laid, and I got the oral surgery coming up. I still would like to know, and I haven't had one response about it yet from anybody who is or ever was a flight attendant. What kind of person wants a job like that? Huh? I mean, there's a lot of traveling, which I love to travel, but I like to go somewhere and be there for a while. I don't like to just get on, turn around and come back. Just get the turbulence in the air. And maybe these are people who like to use the puke bag. I don't know what it is. They like, maybe they're suicidal. Who knows? Maybe they'd like to come face to face with a manatee in the Everglades. Here's Homestead. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I work for American. Nobody cares about anything out there, man. That's the American way.
Yeah.
And
something? I never thought. Wait a minute. I never thought about that.
That's the American fucking way.
Yeah, that can mean the airline now,
If they don't
too,
care
right?
about the employees, man, why are they going to care about the passengers?
Right.
And everything we got is like a dinosaur. I mean, we're working with antique equipment.
That's what I hear.
So, and the jet bridges are all Dade County. I mean, the airport's going to make mega bucks, Mayor Penis.
Yeah.
And
Well, they
they're
only
not putting
wasted,
any money back into the
that
airport.
$29 million on that false start on the expansion project. It's only $29 million.
Yep. But that's just the way it is. Everybody hates everybody. And for the other guy saying that he's going to boycott them, you can't, because they got all the other airlines in a headlock out there at MIA.
Yeah.
I mean, they ran, what was the guy they ran out of there? A couple years back when American went in there to take over. They ran Rick Elder out of the airport.
Yeah.
And that's what it's big business. It's all a matter of numbers.
Well, thanks for the good news, man.
You got it.
Hang
Hey,
in
pack it heavy, we break it. That's our motto.
Okay.
Thanks,
That's
man.
the American fucking way.
All right. So now I understand, huh? It's a whole new deal we got out there. So we had a pilot and we got this guy that works for the airline, and they both said, you heard those giant sucking sounds? I think they were trying to tell us something. 5670560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line here. We're still waiting to hear from flight attendants. We're waiting to hear from somebody who ever landed in the last 20 years on time on an American flight. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, what's going on?
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you why I'm never going to fly American ever again. I get to the airport early. I'm a big guy. Want to get that exit row. Get there real.
Okay, great. I should have put him on hold, but he probably would have said that again, Well, he's a little bit worked up. 5670560, pound 560 on a Mobile One line. He said something like, rhymes with another word we can't say that begins with a T. Jesus, God, is there anything we can say anymore?
No.
Mandich can say it. We can't. And he'll be on, by the way, 2 to 6 this afternoon for Vacationing Humper. 5670560, pound 560 on a Mobile One line. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
So, on American, I'm flying from Fort Lauderdale to San Francisco through Dallas. And we were late leaving Dallas, about 30 minutes, and we're in the cabin ready to go. And just before they closed the door, this stewardess comes on and says, no, the pilot comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got at least 40 minutes on the tarmac before our wheels up, according to the tower. So if there are any of you who want to leave the plane and get another flight, and I'm going, what? Leave the plane? You can do so now because we're about ready to close the door. So believe it or not, a bunch of people run off the airplane.
Well, what do you mean? How are you going to, if there's only 40 minutes, how are you going to run off and get a flight?
I really don't know, unless I misunderstood. I never heard that before. They gave people the option of getting off the plane. I'm thinking 40 minutes, right, we're probably going to be out there for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, these people leave, they close the door, they back the plane out on the tarmac, and we're not there for 40 minutes, we're there for about 5 or 10 minutes, and we take off. And I'm thinking, now that is really bizarre. There you go, un-American story.
Beauty.
Otherwise, the flights coming back were, actually, I might be the first person to say this, they were pretty much on time. San Francisco, Dallas, Fort Lauderdale.
All right.
Yeah, and we didn't get those bistro baguettes. We got the...
You didn't get the Barfstro bag?
No, the Barstow, no. We actually had real, I don't know if it was food, but, it was hot. It was in a tray, and... So, but anyway, there you go, and have a good one, Zangazun.
Okay, and back to you. Yeah, but you didn't get that Chateaubriand or the pheasant or goose. 5670560, pound 560. Forget about the fancy food. We're not impressed. Don't you get the message? We don't want some gourmet goddamn chef with some phony baloney of Chateaubriand. This blonde lady that was sitting next to me in first class last night coming back, she gets the Chateaubriand, and she was very nice. And she had a little bit of wine, etc. And they bring her dinner, okay? And I'm not having anything. Just a diet soda, please, with that aspartame. And I look at her Chateaubriand, okay? And it looked like 2 little turds on a plate. Seriously, that's what it looked like. And the stewies are saying, because people are asking, well, how is it cooked? Oh, it's very, very rare, very rare, very, very like it was still moving around just a little bit on the plate. 5670560, pound 560 on a Mobile One line. Here's a lady. Have we had a lady today all day?
No.
No, not one. You'd think we'd have stewardesses lined up from here to goddamn Jacksonville waiting with stories. Nothing. Lady Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm not a stewardess, but I am a lady, and I apologize if it's noisy. I just drove into a gigantic rainstorm out here in Weston.
Oh, that's
but anyway, well, maybe it'll improve it. A couple of years ago, I flew on American Airlines during a strike. And if you think it's bad when you fly regularly, you should try to fly during a strike.
Yeah.
Of course, we called because we figured the flight's going to be canceled. But we were assured that because it was Miami LaGuardia, and it was a very important route for them, the flight was going to proceed as normally using supervisory personnel. So we went to the airport, we called again to verify that, and sure enough, we got to Miami Airport. The American terminal was like a ghost town, but this flight is going to take off. And it did. We got on the plane, the flight takes off, we fly uneventfully, we land in LaGuardia. I am not kidding you when I tell you that we sat on the taxiway in LaGuardia for 3.5 hours. Nobody came out to tell us anything. All the stewardesses would say was that out of sympathy for the striking American workers, the ground people would not put the flight into the gate. 3.5 hours, we're there. But wait, it gets better. We got on the phone from the plane.
Yeah.
And we called American Airlines to check on the arrival. We were told our flight had arrived. So we told the woman on the plane, no, we're on the plane. You got to get us off. We were screaming and yelling, and you know what we were told? That the call was going to be traced because it was a federal offense to make a joke about something going on a plane. 3.5 hours in New York on the ground until finally somebody got us into a gate and we got off the plane.
That's the American fucking way.
I wrote a letter to Crandall, I think, was the president at the time. Never got an answer, nothing, and I've never flown American again.
Good for you.
And just FYI, a couple weeks ago I flew Delta from Cincinnati, sitting in row 23, and sitting next to me was Michael Irvin. So Mr. Whitney is not the only sports person who sits in coach.
23. They all sit in 23, I guess.
And we couldn't move.
And you think Michael Irvin would buy the damn plane. Okay, thanks, sweetheart.
Bye.
Just say no to American. That's our motto.
No.
Just say no to American. Loud and clear. Come on.
No.
You can do it. Practice makes perfect. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one. Gee, I hope they didn't stick Ray in the same seat that Michael Irvin was sitting in. God.
As Sally Fitz would say, stick it up your ass.
Another ho-hum day at the office again? Well, why don't you liven things up tonight with Hooker Barbie? Yes, the people who brought you Mononucleosis Mary are proud to announce this bold addition to the recreational plastics industry with the introduction of new anatomically correct Hooker Barbie.
I was a little shocked to find out my 16-year-old son was playing with dolls, but my wife Betsy told me it wasn't an ordinary doll. Thank goodness it was new life-size Hooker Barbie.
And just look who's invited for tea. It's Barbie's longtime business associate, Huggy Bear.
Yo, where's my money, fool?
That's new Hooker Barbie. Available at finer adult bookstores everywhere.
Batteries not included. Some assembly required. Barbie's friends, Angel and Candy, each sold separately.
All right. 12:15 at 560 WQM. 5670. I guess it's like the end of the world out there again. We don't know because we don't have any windows. Too bad. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. And by the way, nobody called to confirm or deny yesterday whether we had horrendous rain out by the airport and it was like shut down and backed up for hours and hours. I don't want to accuse anybody of lying, but 3 hours late, Miami to Toronto is a long, long delay. You follow what I'm saying? Long. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
American Airlines story from last night. Father-in-law is flying in from Chicago. My wife's got to go down to pick him up. Calls, to check to make sure the flight's on time. Finds out it's scheduled to land 20 minutes early. She calls back again just to make sure. Sure enough, it's scheduled to land 20 minutes early, so she hops in the car, flies down there, drives around. The plane did not get into the gate until 40 minutes after the flight was supposed to land.
Yeah.
It had sat on the tarmac for about an hour while the other plane that was in its gate left.
That's one of their favorite things, yeah. In fact, sometimes when you're on the plane and it looks like you're going to get there 15, 20 minutes early, something like that, and you're getting all excited about it, what you don't realize is that when you do land early, they have nowhere to stick you. So you sit out there on the tarmac, and you wait, and well, we've talked to the other aircraft, but they're not ready to back out yet, and so we'll sit here until they're damn good and ready.
That's exactly what happened.
Thanks for the good news, pal.
Have a good one, Neil.
Back to you. More horror stories, and like I said, they've got us by the short hairs, they got us by the balls, and they keep squeezing tighter and tighter, and they're just laughing at us. They don't care. They don't give a crap. You want to go somewhere? Good. Then just pay your money, and when we're good and ready, we'll get you there. And if you don't like it, stay home. Stay home because some other sucker will take your ticket. And then, of course, the best part of it is all you got to do is look at them cross-eyed now, and the federal marshals will be waiting for it. That's why they love publicizing these stories, like, what was her name, Patricia or whatever, the first one was in Boston, and then the guy that poured the coffee on the guy's head, that guy was psychotic in Boston. Yeah, that's why they like to really publicize this story. Oh, yeah, the federal marshals, the CIA, the IRS, the goddamn stormtroopers, they'll be waiting for you when you get off the plane, so you better just sit there and shut up. And be real polite, and whatever you do... Why? Yeah, like I said. And whatever you do...
Please don't say the F word.
Oh, that was good enough. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes,
How's it going?
All right.
I have another American story. A few months
Great.
ago,
Let's deluge them. Let's bombard them with American stories.
I was going down to Caracas, and I left from Miami Airport. And to my surprise, the flight left on time, the check-in was painless, and the food was okay. I was doing my business in Caracas and trying to come back. And the point is that if you have a flight that's delayed and you're in another country, such as Venezuela, whatever problem you have is multiplied by a factor of 100. First of all, you can't get anyone that speaks English that gives you a straight answer. We're waiting. We're supposed to land in Miami.
Now, is that in Caracas or in Miami?
No, this is in Caracas.
Oh.
There was some kind of problem with the aircraft, and we couldn't get a straight answer. They had to fly another aircraft in from Dallas, and then the flight crew was also going to become illegal. This is another word that one of your other callers mentioned before about being working for a certain number of hours. And instead of landing at 6 p.m., we landed about 2:30 in the morning, and it was, to say at least a disaster. But the point I want to make is that I do a fair amount of international traveling, and just about any non-U.S. U.S. airlines, their economy class kills any first class of American, Delta, TWA, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And the people that don't get a chance to travel on a foreign airline really miss out, or really cannot see how poor the service is on any U.S. airline.
I draw an analogy. It's like the thing with guns. People that have never been to a civilized country, they think that this is the way it is all over the world, that everybody's running around blowing each other's brains out and everybody's got guns. And it's the same thing with airlines. Right. It's a very good point you make. If they never fly on international carriers that know how to treat you right and give you comfort and get you there sometime within a couple hours when you're supposed to get there, then they think that, well, this is just the way it's got to be and we're conditioned to it, so what can we do?
And we just came back from Europe. We flew Lauda Airlines. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
No.
It's spelled Lauda. It's owned by a race car driver from Austria called Niki Lauda.
Yeah.
And it was a 767, beautiful airline. The food, we had to fly economy class because we were going with the family, but the food, the service, everything was excellent. The only problem was that the smelly Austrians, they forgot to bathe during the month of August, so it was all right. But I would highly recommend that if a person has a choice when flying to another country, they just try a foreign airline.
Right.
And forget about the frequent flyer miles, whatever perks they get. Their comfort will well be worth it.
Okay.
I'm out of material.
And God bless you.
Bye.
In fact, if you go to England, you might even want to try that. If Virgin Atlantic don't have any room for it, try that Suckling Airlines, okay? Yes, Virgin, there is a Suckling Airlines. 567-0560, pound 560 on a Mobile One line. Here's a mobile in Coral Springs. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
Good. There is one airline that's always on time. It's Federal Express. It really works well if you're an envelope.
Uh-huh.
And that's it.
Or a box.
Or a box. They really carry boxes. They always get them on time. They're there by 10:30 or they're free.
ValueJet worked pretty good if you wanted to wind up in a box. They were pretty good.
Have you heard from the Purim lady lately?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not too long ago. A couple of weeks, I guess.
I haven't heard her in a long time. I miss her, frankly.
She's around.
All right. Well, send her my best, will you?
The last thing she said was,
"Don't take any bullshit from him."
Have a great day, pal.
Bye.
5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. As we continue with the horror stories, just say
no
to Un-American Airlines. I thought I was only going to do an hour on this today, but I'm so whipped up and so pissed off about this, about the subhuman, inhumane, and the lies they tell and the lies and the stories. Oh, yeah, well, the aircraft is going to be landing in 10 minutes, which turned into 25 minutes, by the way. And of course, at Pearson Airport in Toronto, depending on which runway the plane comes in on, it's a long ass taxi to the goddamn, especially to Terminal 3 where American Airlines is. But they just keep stringing you along and giving you a lot of blue sky crap, if they bother to tell you anything at all, that is. Here's a lady mobile in Hollywood. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
another American story for you.
All
Last month, my brother and his wife and 3 kids were coming from L.A., but they missed their flight check-in by about 10 minutes in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to call me and say, look, they're rerouting me to Miami, but my luggage went to Fort Lauderdale. So I went to Miami and picked him up, but it was, about 3 hours later than we planned. And when we drove to Fort Lauderdale to get his luggage, and it turned out his flight there had been delayed at their layover in Dallas, and his luggage didn't come until 1 in the morning. So he beat his luggage here. And then on his way back, he was going to his mother-in-law's in Dallas. But to get there, it was $200 a person more to fly directly to Dallas. So they were flying to Little Rock and renting a car and driving, but they had to change planes in Dallas to get to Little Rock.
Oh, unbelievable.
And then he said, well, can we just stay in Dallas once we get there? They said, no, we'll cancel your return trip to L.A. if you do that, because it's $200 more a person to fly directly to Dallas.
Beauty. Thanks for the good news.
Okay.
Don't do it again. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello. Mobile in Miami.
Hey, Neil, let me try to contain myself this time. I got to watch my language. I get so worked up.
Okay, well, I had to dump you.
I was, so I get to the airport early, a couple hours early to get my exit row seats. They say it's all filled up. So I get in the plane. I'm already all worked up as it is. I'm going back to the bathroom. I walk to the exit row, and I see the guy sitting in the exit row, and the guy has one arm.
Uh-huh.
And I'm waiting there for the exit row of the airport.
Maybe it was a strong arm.
I don't know.
You heard that expression, strong-armed?
So then I tell the stewardess, I said, well, I think this is a problem here. It seems to me the guy in the exit row was supposed to pick up that 85-pound door, only has one arm, but she was too busy serving the peanuts and the soda. She wasn't too concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will never, ever be an American again.
For Christ's sake, she's only got one eye.
Have a great day, pal. Oh, God. Maybe we can get, like the bandits, like the pirates, with a patch over the eye. One arm, one leg. That's the American way, baby. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Kind of like your handicapped airline. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I got actually a decent story. I took Delta to...
All right.
I took Delta through New York to Rome and then back from Amsterdam through Atlanta. I got back yesterday.
Yeah.
Not only did we have a great flight, I'm 6'4". I didn't get an exit row, but I sat on an aisle, and the stewardesses let me sit in their seat in the back that has all the leg room.
Uh-huh.
They got the leg room in the back. And they gave us a free bottle on our way out, the bottle of wine on our way off the plane. So I thought Delta was great. I thought Amsterdam was great, and Delta coming back was great.
Oh, but that was Delta, not American.
Delta was fine.
Excellent.
Fine airline.
Maybe they're making a comeback.
I had no problems with them this week.
Beautiful. Thanks for the good story. Glad you had a great time. There you go. Delta, maybe they are ready when we are, huh? They've been waiting for a while, but maybe now they're getting ready now that America has dropped the ball, baby. You can hear the thud all over the world. You can hear this big, they thought it was the earthquake, huh? In Turkey? No, that was small compared to this thud. How about them finding those people, by the way, alive days after that?
Like 6 days.
He works in mysterious ways. Well, how come he let it happen in the first place? Well, see, now you're starting, don't confuse
Muslims.
us with those questions. Huh?
They're Muslims.
Yeah.
That's why.
And let me say it again, that hurricane that's blowing in Texas was because of that white powder that somebody was snorting into their nose. That's what it was. God is real pissed off about that. Make no mistake about it, okay, George W.? Talk about Bush League. Well, in the last 16 minutes, I haven't done this. In the last 5 years, yeah. How about a simple yes or no, okay, Mr. Cokehead, drug addict, booze hound, whatever the hell your problems were? I mean, you know, if somebody's going to have his finger on it and the button too, don't you think maybe we ought to have a right to know, even if it was quite a while ago, if the guy maybe have a little drug problem, a little bit unstable maybe here and there? Huh? Especially since he has no goddamn ideas and we don't know where he stands on anything, but nevertheless his name is Bush. Didn't we get rid of the other Bush?
For Christ's sake, she's only got one eye.
Now I'm starting to make some sense.
Do you love breakfast cereal? Do you love beer? Then you'll love Beerios, the world's first beer-soaked breakfast cereal. My husband never had time to eat breakfast in the morning, and to get him to even touch me was like pulling teeth. But now he wouldn't think of starting his day without 3 heaping bowls of Beerios, and he can't keep his hands off of me.
Come here, you little wench.
Harvey, the Kissel's here. Beerios is available at all fine supermarkets and liquor stores everywhere.
I used to be depressed, but with Beerios, I've got a reason to wake up. I start each day with a buzz.
Beerios, it's oats, it's alcohol, it's fun. Harvey!
12:31 at 560 WQAM. We got Jim Mad Dog Madness.
All right.
For Hank Goldberg at 2, and after that, you're on your own, baby. Got some good stuff on TV tonight. What's the name of that show again on Warner Brothers?
Seventh Heaven.
Seventh Heaven. Well, it's only the 7th time you told me
Probably
this
a crappy
morning.
show, but
I don't care.
right.
That's probably a crappy movie too. Douching Mrs. Dildo, whatever. What is her name? Tinkle. Tinkling on Miss Tingle. That's probably a crappy movie, but who cares with those people in it? Although who the hell wants to see Molly Ringworm? You know, when you come right down to it. But anyway, here's a tape that we get in the mail. This is bizarre. Speaking of really marginal movies, the Blair Witch Project's Heather Donahue is found in Steak and Shake TV ads.
Oi!
How do you like that?
Well, she's cute.
Is she?
We saw her all like 2 minutes in the movie, but
Well, anyway, she's the poster girl and female lead in Blair Witch Project, chosen by the restaurant's chain advertising agency. Young Larimore is the most credible waitress, as part of the ongoing series Grill Guy and Waitress Steak and Shake ads. And by the way, what's the story with Steak and Shake? Have we heard any more about the one in Plantation?
No.
So there you go. Well, you can take this then. You can see whether she's eating the meat or just shaking it. 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. I'm telling you, Steak and Shake is the best. It's I see there's a Fort Myers call on there. I better mention this. Unclean practices made restaurant diners ill. Employees at a barbecue restaurant didn't wash their hands thoroughly and failed to handle food properly, causing 23 people to get sick from bacteria-laden coleslaw, a health department report claimed. Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue served coleslaw with high levels of fecal coliform on a July 16th retirement reception report. Well, I guess if you're retiring, you know, it won't interfere with your job. Yeah. Dr. J. Robert South, the health department's epidemiologist, concluded in his report the illnesses came from the food provided by the restaurant because the day after, health department officials began receiving calls from some of the 130 guests who attended that event claiming they were sick. Cabbage and carrots were not washed before coleslaw preparation, it says. Gloves were not used during the coleslaw preparation, and hand washing was not observed. Sonny's owner, Mickey Wood, said Friday he'd been told the investigation was inconclusive, but the report concluded August 18 said investigators found high levels of coliform bacteria in coleslaw, which would have led to an outbreak of a Norwalk-like virus. Its symptoms are diarrhea, vomiting, fever, headache, chills, and cramps without the N. How do you like that, all you people in Fort Myers? Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Great.
It's been a while since I've called in, but just so you know, we listen all the time. We're a transportation company, and let me tell you, when we pick up passengers for American Airlines, imagine this. You call one time, they give you one arrival time. You call 45 minutes later, the plane, they show that it has arrived, you get there, the plane's not there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we make a living off limousine companies meeting passengers off the planes, and with American, we always have a problem with them. You know, they can never get their flight information right. You know, we try through the internet.
Even in their computer, they don't know when their own flights have landed or not landed. That's to me the most frightening part.
Exactly. You know, we try through the internet. We we try and speak with a voice. We try and speak with someone that, you know, who actually works for American at the terminal, and, you know, it's just the misinformation. And you know, we try and make a living off that and try and explain to a passenger that we didn't greet, you know, oh, it's the airline's fault. They don't care. They look at us and like we're the incompetent ones,
right?
You know, that aren't doing our job. And It's just the horror. I mean, it is a real big horror story.
Okay, pal.
So thank you very much, and for all the great years we've been listening, and we love you.
Okay, good luck.
All right, Neil.
You'll need
Bye.
it. Okay. Okay, getting a lot of verification today, and the one guy that had the good story, that was on Delta, going across the pond, which is good, of course, because when you got 75 million frequent flyer miles on there, you got to use them on something on Delta. So maybe going across the pond, that's not such a bad idea. Here's a mobile in Stewart. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Great.
My American story is flying to Carmel, California. Gorgeous spot. But on my return, I called American Airlines and said, would it be possible to drive to San Francisco, meet with family, and fly directly out of San Francisco? And they said, no, I couldn't do that because they would give up my San Francisco-Miami leg of my trip. So I rented a car, went to San Francisco, drove back in the wee hours so I could catch my plane from Carmel or Monterey to San Francisco. I get to the airport and they tell me the plane has been delayed. But it should still get there in plenty of time for my flight from San Francisco to Miami.
Sure.
So they put me on the airplane about 2 hours late. We, in the little Saab 340 propeller plane, we fly up to San Francisco and we start circling. And they say, due to winds, we have not received clearance to land at closed one runway. Does that about every 15 minutes until finally he comes on saying, ladies and gentlemen, we are running low on fuel. We're going back to Monterey.
Oi!
So we fly all the way back to Monterey. They put me on now I've missed my 12:33 flight.
Right.
They put me on a bus telling me I'll get there for the 3 o'clock flight. Of course, I get there at 3 o'clock and it's too late for my 3 o'clock flight. And so I sit around the San Francisco airport until it was, let's see, what time was it? It was late in the evening. They get me to Dallas, and once I get to Dallas, they say, well, the plane's going to leave at 1 a.m. or we're going to leave at 12:15. So they kick us out of the Admirals Club. The guy locks the door behind us, and the plane is sitting there dark. And I say, well, is the plane ready to leave?
Yeah.
And they said, well, no, our flight crew's coming in on the next flight.
Yeah, they forgot to tell you. You're flying it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the next flight wasn't coming in till 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get back to Miami till 2:30 in the afternoon.
All right.
Business as usual. They also lost the flight coming up from the Bahamas one time. The board in Miami said it was in and landed. I'm waiting like an idiot at customs. Doesn't show up. It took me an hour and 45 minutes to learn the plane had been diverted to Key West, and they didn't bother telling anybody.
Yeah, they're very big on that. They don't bother showing you on the board anything, and they don't want to tell you any of these things. You're just supposed to find it out by yourself, I guess.
They want you to sit out front so the guy that smells too much of the carbon monoxide fumes can yell at you for driving around 47,000 times.
Right. Okay, pal.
Thanks.
Just say no. Just say no. That's the bottom line. And if you're going somewhere that you need to fly that airline, just don't go there. That's all. Go someplace else. Remember, like he said in Godfather 3, love somebody else. 5670560, and of course with a nose like that. And pound 560 on the Mobile One line. Too bad about that, Sophia. You know what? What a great ending.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
You eat burritos and don't care. Got skid marks, underwear. Ooh, it makes you wanna cry. Don't know from where it came. Stomach cramps drive you insane. Ooh, it makes you wanna die.
Yes.
Ooh, should have bought some Tums. 'Cause now you got to run. Diarrhea, it ain't fun to have ya standing in a restroom line, eating tacos, salsa and nachos. Too many spicy foods at once.
1244 at 560 WQM. Greatest T-shirt I've seen of the month, the year, the century. Kid in Toronto on Yonge Street with a T-shirt this weekend that said Y2KFU. Oh! Yeah, let's start printing those up. That's a good idea. Give some $50 a pop to the employees, to the help. 5670560. You know, the more I think about it, I try not to think about that, because if I allow myself to think about that, I have the feeling that I'm not going to come into this place again. every time I think about the fact that station paraphernalia is being sold to the people who work here. I mean, I've worked at some of the schlockiest, some of the cheapest, some of the most marginal joints you could ever imagine, and none of them would have ever dreamed of charging the hired full-time help for station paraphernalia, caps, T-shirts, all of these things. Wouldn't have dreamed of doing it, Greg. They would have been embarrassed. They would have been laughed out of the building by the hired help. Here's Miami with 16 question marks next to it. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
Hey, long-time listener. I'm living in L.A. now. I'm down here on vacation. I'm here on my last day with my girlfriend, and we love your show, and I got a shameless request.
Yes, sir.
Can you play the bird? I got a tape going. I have to record this thing to take it back to L.A.
You mean I Hate the Bird?
Yes. Please.
Well, how do you know the bird?
Oh, God, I've been listening to you for years, man. I love your show.
Oh. I wonder how the bird is, by the way.
Well, what is he doing now?
I don't know. He's hanging on by a thread. Okay, listen, pal. Have a great life.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you missed the Neil Rogers show yesterday on 610 WIOD, you missed this.
Is this the bird?
Yeah.
Bird, how you doing?
Okay.
Listen, do me a favor, play anything, because I can't stand listening to you. You sound like a douchebag.
Do what?
Just do me a favor, play anything.
Well, can I ask you a question before you go?
Oh, God, you sound so stupid. I hate to talk to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, why did you call me? I didn't call you.
No, just to tell you not to say anything. Just play something. Oh, God, I can't stand it.
Well, then why are you listening?
Oh, play something already.
Why won't you answer my...
I can't stand it.
You won't... See, he won't talk to me. Oh, we got a car here. Hello?
1246 at 560 WQM. By the way, George, not to be outdone, he understands what it's all about. When I'm on vacation, George, of course, will be filling in. And one of those shows, in fact, I think maybe more than one. You could do one like at the first day and then the last day before I come back. Hockey shows. Now we're talking.
Oh!
Finally caught on after all these years. Hockey is the key to the listeners' hearts here in South Florida. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Draws them in like a magnet. Seriously, we got 200 people on this plane last night. I guarantee you, coming to Miami. This isn't a plane that was going to like Guadalajara. It wasn't going to Anchorage, Alaska. Coming to Miami, I will guarantee you, I'm the only person who was on that plane who knew who Ray Whitney was. Oh, it's the Bird Jr. How do you like that? Oh, yeah, that was a put-up. You must have called him.
No, he called. He heard the request.
5670560, pound 560 on the mobile line. Rare form today, by the way, Bird Jr. Get the honey. Here's Lighthouse Point. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I've been to the new Steak and Shake in Boynton.
Yeah.
People are out the door. You got to wait 15, 20 minutes for a table.
I'll bet.
Unbelievable.
How come we got to wait so long in anywhere down here in Dade or Broward?
I don't get it. But that place is so small, they could have built it twice as big, and they'd still be doing an excellent business.
They didn't realize the tremendous build-up that we already had here for it.
Not at all. Hey, what's the connection between Mickey Harrison and American Airlines?
I don't know.
Because they got the new arena named the American
The
Airlines.
American Airlines Arena, that's right. They bought the rights to it. So, you know something, sir? You've just convinced me. If there was any doubt, which there wasn't, that put it right over the edge. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
One last thing.
Yes.
I saw a great bumper sticker on Friday. It said, Jesus is coming, look busy.
Okay.
That's great.
And especially if you live in Texas, but it's a little bit too late, okay? The big blow is going in Texas. Because Jesus, the Lord, has found out that all that crap has been going on over there. And he don't care if it was 25 years ago or 25 years in 2 days. He's not splitting hairs, okay? When we got a governor over there that's putting people 20 and 18 and 25 years old in jail for Coke. Pepsi ain't so bad, he said, but Coke he's pretty pissed off about. Lying sack of crap. And now the shoe is on the other foot and they're all like squirming and hedging and edging and well, bada beep, bada boobia. He's an upstanding guy, but he should answer the question. Yeah, well, we're waiting. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's Miramar. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir. How are you?
Great.
Yeah, I just want to say that American is the most incompetent airline in the world.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny?
Go ahead.
American operations, they will call us from Houston, or they will call us from New York, asking for American operations number in Miami airport.
Yeah.
Is that
hey, listen, what better place to get the number, man?
we got the numbers, but I mean, don't you think they should have the numbers?
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I got some stories I could tell you. You got time?
I'm listening.
Well, my son was going to Syracuse. He was flying with a dog, and we got there early. And when he got to the counter, they told him the dog couldn't go on the same flight. He had to wait for a later flight, even though he booked it with a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so they finally put him on the same flight. Okay, when he got to New York, his dog didn't arrive in New York. It arrived in LaGuardia. So he had to take a taxi to LaGuardia
Mm-hmm.
to get the dog. And then they couldn't put him on the shuttle flight to Syracuse.
Yeah.
So they were going to pay him taxi fare to Syracuse. So he got lucky. His girlfriend happened to be in the area. So they got
Okay, thanks. Okay, 5670560. Tell them to put the muskrat on next time. And pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Okay, sir.
Neil, I just want to relay a story. It just happened 2 weeks ago to my stepson. He was flying American from Fort Lauderdale to New York to Kennedy. His flight was at 2:10, leaving Fort Lauderdale, arriving New York at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
They went out on the runway. They proceeded to stay on the runway. They said they couldn't take off because of electrical storms in the Jacksonville area. So they stayed on the runway till 6 o'clock that night, and they finally decided to take the plane back in, let the people get out, make calls or whatever. They would put him on a flight at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He had a flight connection at 10:30. He was going to Buenos Aires. Okay? By the time he got
wait a minute. He was going from Fort Lauderdale to New York to Buenos Aires.
Right, and then from Kennedy to Buenos Aires.
Oh.
His connection was at 10:30 from Kennedy to go to Buenos Aires. He arrived in Kennedy after 2 o'clock flight in the afternoon, arrived in Kennedy at midnight, missed his flight to Buenos Aires, had to wait till 10 o'clock the next day, okay, to get the flight to Buenos Aires. Americans didn't put him in a hotel, gave them absolutely nothing. Nothing.
They didn't even give him a hotel voucher?
Didn't even give him a hotel voucher.
Nice.
He asked for it, and they didn't do anything.
I would sue their ass, man.
Well, that's exactly so. I just want to relay that to you. So it took him 2 days to get out of Fort Lauderdale to
That's
Buenos
the
Aires.
American fucking way.
Okay, thanks for the good news, pal. I guess that's a good reason to go to Miami International and fly one of the Latin American carriers, probably. One of the ones that actually lands once in a while, if you can find one. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. As the horror stories continue, as American continues losing customers left and right, and it couldn't happen to a more deserving bunch. Your performance is unacceptable. You failed the grade. Maybe the goose a la orange may have been very tasty and delicious, and the ice cream sundae may have been scrumptious, but guess what? Nobody cares. Here's a mobile in Deerfield. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
Is it too early to talk hockey?
What is it?
Can we please talk hockey?
Please talk what?
Hockey for just a second.
About what?
Palm Beach Post ran an article yesterday about the possibility of the Panthers going after Yashin. Have you heard a thing about it?
But Brian Murray just said last week that there's nothing going on, and he doesn't anticipate anything. They're not going to spend that kind of money when they're giving Pavel Bure $10 million a year. I think what you see is what you get, sir. Unfortunately, I think we're what you see is it.
So we have to work with the youngsters in the organization for one more year.
In the organization, but I think about 3 months into the year, I think the Murrays may be on a bus to Schenectady, and then maybe we'll, get a chance, get a reprieve.
Let's do it worse. Let's send them to Utica. That's even worse.
Okay.
Thanks.
How about Schenectady, huh? Schenectady, Troy, and Albany. 5670560. How about Saskatoon? That sounds good, Brian. Here's Sunrise. Hello.
Yes, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the status of Lawrence Phillips? Will he be in the starting lineup?
Let's go to a mobile. You can keep those calls from now until the end of time, sir, and it'll keep you off the street. That's all I can say for you. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think what you ought to do is take a copy of today's show and mail it off to Don Tardy over in the corporate headquarters.
Yeah.
Let him hear what the people got to say, because the employees don't have any effect on him at all.
Right. I don't think he cares, though. I don't think they give a crap.
Well, the employees don't. He's got A&B people, and he pays people way below what he should be paying.
Yeah.
There's a tremendous employee apathy. So as an end result, what you got.
Okay, thanks for the uplifting comments. Yeah, you see, even the people that work for the airline, that's always the tip-off right there. The people that work for them hate them like poison. They're all unhappy. Everybody's grumbling and mumbling. And in the meantime, we're stuck with a fallout. I mean, it would be different if we were talking about somebody that makes, lunch meats or something like that, but we're talking about people that stick your ass on a plane and put you up there 37,000 feet in the air, and your life is in their hands, and hopefully you're trying to get from one place to another. And nobody gives a crap.
WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
It's the 1 to 2 hour.
See the new Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Many say it's not as good as the original. So now, you can see the original Star Wars, but with a whole new cast. See George Bush as Darth Vader.
Luke, give in to the dark side of the Force. That way we can rule the galaxy as father and son. Then we can go home and meet your mom, Bar.
See Bill Clinton as Luke Skywalker.
I will never give in to the dark side of the Force, and you are not my father. For if you were, that would mean Leia's my sister. After I saw her in that slave girl outfit, I thought I found me a new intern.
See Ross Perot as Yoda.
Master Yoda, is Darth Vader Bush my father?
Your father he is. And let me just say, that is real sad. You have one messed up family, Cracker Boy.
Your favorite movie and your favorite campaign stars have come together at last.
I think there is good in you yet, Darth Vader Bush. I sense the conflict, and I feel your pain. Let go of your hate and be good again.
Can't do that, Luke. Wouldn't be prudent this juncture. Not gonna die. Not gonna die.
Don't miss Campaign Star Wars. Coming soon to it there near you.
For Christ's sake, she's only got one eye.
Still don't make it. It's 1 o'clock at 560 WQM. And look at that phone. Let's take all our calls right now, shall we? Okay, here we go. Yeah, let's sit around and sniff glue. What do you say? Huh? 567-056. It must be 2 o'clock. Where's the Mad Dog? How's he coming?
Yeah.
Oh, not till 2? I'm telling you, how many times have I said this? 50,000 times in the last couple of weeks?
Uh-huh.
It just amazes me. The more I think that I've never seen these things, and they just keep happening over and over again. Things that are just inexplicable in this town. You know what I'm talking about?
All of these things.
Yeah, those things. Nothing, zippity-doo-dah, vanished into oblivion. Because like I've told you before, 50 trillion times, nobody in this town really gets pissed off about anything. They got a little excited about the penny sales tax. 50 of them actually got off their ass and went out and voted, and they all said,
no.
And that was great. But that's it. You're dealing in la-la land, baby. Yeah. The land of indifference. Do it. Just stick it to us. Keep sticking it in there, twisting it, knifing it, making us bleed. We love it. We're into S&M, mostly on the M side. We love it. Just amazing to me. And so I must be, something, I'm convinced I must be a bastard. I must be a real prick, because I'm the one that sits there in the airport and I sit there on the plane and I'm the one that's steaming inside. The experience going up there on Friday, that to me was unacceptable. It was inhumane. Sitting there like a cockroach way the hell back there in coach, surrounded by a bunch of crazy people trying to jam 50,000 things into the overhead. And you notice we haven't had any calls about that today because I think most of you people believe that's the way it's supposed to be. 1 or 2 pieces of carry-on, that to you means no more than 10. See, I must be speaking the wrong language. That's what that means. When it says 1 or 2 pieces max carry-on, that means no more than 20 pieces is what it means. No more than 90% of your total life belongings can fit on this plane. Crazy people. Here's a mobile in Lauderhill. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing today?
Okay, sir.
I was listening to Mandich after your show on Friday,
Yeah.
and I asked him how he felt about, having the new guy come in and help you out with the play-by-play, and he kind of just laughed at me. You made me kind of upset. I thought you were really going to go over there and do the play-by-play.
How young is too young?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you happen to hear what Mandich said when he was talking football? He said to the guy, I like your tight end.
No, I didn't hear that. We'll have to snip that out.
Oh, you got to get that. He
comment,
said
too.
really funny. Hey, in closing?
He'll be here at 2, by the way, pal. Got a heavy-duty Mad Dog this week.
Hey, in closing?
In closing, yes.
Were you fudge packing?
Okay. That seems to be their favorite because...
Were you fudge packing?
Well, we already found that out last year. Better not say it again because that'll be another $35,000, thank you. And guess what? Tom Jicha still hasn't discovered that story.
No.
Nice going, Tom. Baldy. It's just amazing. I guess they all threw their radios out. They're too busy watching those exciting Paxson shows on TV. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Miramar. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Great.
I got another American Airlines horror story.
Great. Pile them on, baby.
I flew to Vegas, and they asked me to get off the plane if they give me a $300 voucher. So I said, what the heck, the plane isn't going to leave on time anyway, so I might as well. I got off the plane. I ended up only getting in 10 minutes after the plane I would have originally been on. So I had a $300 voucher I'm looking to use to go up north.
Mm-hmm.
I call them up. They don't go anywhere. The only places they go are either Texas or Chicago. And it's just a horror I'm trying to get into Hartford. I finally decided the heck with the vouchers, and I'm going to go U.S. Scare. At least I can get into the town I want to get into.
Yeah.
Another thing, going back to the police department, I used to live up in New Hampshire, in Amherst, New Hampshire, and I moved up there right around the holidays. I put up all these holiday lights and, the Santa Claus and everything. And next thing I look out the window, and there's a police car in my driveway with the blue lights on. I go down there. The guy starts showing me these town laws that I am not allowed to put up colored lights in the town of Amherst, New Hampshire, and they had over 200 complaints from the town. So, I was forced to take down the lights, but I thought it was a little ridiculous. You have to have only white lights and a white candle in each window.
How do you like that?
You want to talk about Nazis?
Yeah, what about if you got, out on the porch, you got those yellow lights to kill the bugs in the summertime? I guess those are
I don't think you could have them either. The other thing is that if you want if you want to get a carry pistol permit, you go down there, and 7 days later, if you're not a felon, they'll come and personally deliver you the permit for a 3-year license for $8.
All right.
It's incredible, but you can't have colored lights.
Thanks for the good news, pal.
Take care of yourself.
See there, in other words, anybody can get a gun in New Hampshire, but if you want colored lights, baby, how about if you want to put a red light out there? Oh, no, better not do that. It must be the end of the world outside, and we're just oblivious to it, because, although it can't, how can it be? Our small dish is still working fine. I'm trying to drum up excuses for these people. I can't find any. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Neil. American Airlines employee. I've been there for 9 years. Very proud to work for the company. All the bad stories you hear, you'll hear 1,000 better ones. So, all the people that are calling and saying that American Airlines sucks, you guys are the ones that suck, Neil.
So, in other words, we just made it up, is that it?
Well, you know what? You're one person compared to the millions and millions that fly American Airlines.
Well, how about all these other people that called in there? They're just making it up?
You know what? Just to be on your show, everybody just calls just to say.
Okay, great. I knew we'd have to dump them sooner or later, and he just spewed it out. Okay. Well, we're happy that you're proud to work for American Airlines for the last 9 years. Probably can't get hired on by anybody else. Because we've had several American employees, or at least so they claim today, who called, and not one of them had anything good to say about the company they're working for, which sounds just like here at QAM, by the way. Sounds like the Beasley Reed Company. In other words, we'll take the money, thank you, but other than that, there's not too much good we can say. We're pretty embarrassed. Yeah, that's it. Blame the masses out there, sir. It's Neil Rogers and his bullcrap audience. They're the ones who are just saying this to make me happy. They're just making up all of these stories. You're a crazy person, sir. I hope to hell you're certainly not working up there in the air on any flights that I might be on. Of course, in the future, it won't be on that airline. So we don't have to worry about that. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing today?
Okay, sir.
I fly 35 to 40 weeks a year.
Yep.
I'm on all kinds of different airlines. Here's a box out in the middle of the desert that could put about 2/3 of them on, and we'd all be better off. But my outlook on flying is it's just got to be safe. If I feel it's safe and they've done the right thing, when you fly for a living, for business and a living, you can't look at it like a pleasure trip. But I was on a flight just this last Friday, coming back from Minneapolis on Delta, and they boarded us all on the plane, then told us there was no pilot. He was coming in on another plane, and we'd have to sit on the plane and wait till the pilot arrived. An hour later, the pilot arrives, and then they take off. We get into Atlanta, land at Atlanta, reload, and tell us the transferring pilot's not there yet. He'll be there in about 15 minutes, so we sat on the airplane again for the same reason, that the pilot wasn't in. By the time we got out to the tarmac, there were 40 planes in front of us. We were two and a half hours inside that airplane.
40 planes. This was in Atlanta.
in Atlanta.
That's
Started in Minneapolis, ended up in
another
Atlanta.
another good reason, all you folks out there, don't ever fly through Atlanta if you can help it. It's a great airport to stay away from.
I fly probably 70,000 miles or more a year, and it's the worst transfer point in the United States.
Yeah.
If you just, invariably, they'll move you from one terminal to another. It's like they say, oh, Neil's coming down. He's coming in Terminal A. Let's put him over in C, clear at the other end of the world.
Right, exactly.
They do it to me every time.
Yeah.
But most of the airlines, on the average, are fairly good. Most of the employees on the airplanes are fairly good. But the scheduling system they use is antiquated. It's never going to work. They've never learned how to do it right.
Okay, pal.
Thank you.
Good luck. 567, what do you say? 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. It's 109 at QAM. It's the evil Neil Rogers show. I just come out and make these things up just to stir the public up, okay? Because I'm a bad guy. I'm evil. I make up stories. I'm a malcontent. I'm a crap disturber, okay? Just ask that goofball I called 2 calls ago. He'll tell you. Take a look in the mirror, okay, sir? Take a look at all those people that were psychotic and hate your airline like poison after that pilot walkout several months ago. People are ready to kill themselves or somebody else because nobody gave a crap about them.
You're a bastard.
Oh, it's too hot. Too hot, baby. Find an air conditioner, and you got it made. In the heat of summertime when it gets too hot, and you need relief for what you need, they ain't got. I know the song's gonna relate to a whole lot of listeners. Ever spend the whole day looking for an air conditioner? 100 degrees or more in the shade, and they tell you, sorry, all out, I'm afraid. Then you risk the embarrassment, you take your chance when someone sees you walking around your house with just in the pants on. Bands up, full flat bags of ice, don't cut it. From the store's inventory's down, I'm sweating buckets. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about all the things you want to pack up all your bags and move out. That's not what I planned to do, that's what I did, yeah. I finally said I can't take no more of this. I found relief right here in my neighborhood, my new address, Walmart. Sporting goods. Oh, it's too hot. Too hot. Too hot, baby. Find an air conditioner, and you got it made.
115 is 560 WQAM. Let's, where are we going? Somewhere. I'm in a fog. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Okay, sir.
I got to tell you about Southwest Airlines. They canceled the flight out of Tampa to come down to Miami.
Yeah.
And they said, don't worry, just call our customer service and we'll take care of it. So I called that 1-800-I-FLY-SWA.
Mm-hmm.
They told me their customer service number was a long-distance number. So I called that, and they put me on hold for an hour and a half before I finally had enough.
But I thought those were supposed to be the good guys. I thought they were the ones that had it down pat.
They're supposed to, but
Yeah.
after an hour and a half on speakerphone and about $12 in my phone bill, I said, I had enough of these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unacceptable.
Okay, I guess stay home is the answer. We came up with the answer today, stay home, okay? And, of course, the solution to that is whatever you do, don't make home Miami. There's one more good reason not to be living here because if you're going to have to stay home, this is not where you want to call home. Unless 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Unless you like the Banana Boat song. Maybe you do. Worked for Harry Belafonte. Here's a lady mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
Okay.
Okay, well, I usually fly to Jamaica, and I've flown on American Airlines, and nothing too terrible, but it's just not pleasant at all. On the other hand, I've...
Well, what does that mean? Not too pleasant at all?
Well, the attendants, you could be dying before they pay attention to you.
Yeah. No, I don't want any attention. I would just like to, board the plane somewhere close to where I expect to and get to where I'm going sometime close to and just get a safe flight. That's all. I don't want any fancy food. I don't want them to come and pamper me. That's all I'm asking. Very simple.
Although it could be helpful if I had gotten a seatbelt extender that I needed. That has to do with safety.
A seatbelt extender?
Yeah, well, when you're bigger and you're
well, bigger than what? Bigger than a house? Bigger than a house, you mean?
Oh, yeah. But I've also flown on Air Jamaica.
Well, that's not kind of like way down on the plane? I mean, don't they have to, offload some of the luggage then?
Maybe so. I've also flown on Air Jamaica. No, that's run by a third world country. And they managed to get off on time, and they managed to have air conditioning that works.
Yeah.
And flight
not to
attendants
mention the free weed in the receipt, too, yeah.
So, the difference, Americans should be better, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen.
And about
yeah.
carry-on luggage,
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe carry-on luggage, especially people in Miami. They've got to move their whole house at once. especially if they are going to Jamaica. I mean, boxes tied with strings, stuff
Okay,
like that.
I think your phone just got caught between two folds there. Okay, 567. What? Well, you could hear it. You could hear it like that suffocating sound. I think the phone got sucked in there between two gigantic folds. 567-0560. Lose some weight, honey. Come on. Seatbelt extender. I mean, let's get serious. Have you ever heard of that? A seatbelt extender? How about Al Goldstein? You think that he could fit the seatbelt around him? I never thought about that before. Huh? Must be. Although maybe in Al's case, what he does is he buys two seats and then he takes the middle part of the seatbelts out and just you know what I'm talking about? Just ties the two straps together from the side. Lose some weight, sweetheart, and maybe we can get an excavator over there to get that phone out. Here's Hollywood. Hello.
Yeah, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Neil, listen, I want to thank you for the last couple of weeks of entertainment. I got to go back to work tomorrow, but you recommended that book, Farewell to God. I just finished reading it.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest books. Got to be one of the greatest books of all time.
Yes, it is, even though James B. Davis, the religion editor at the Sun Sentinel, reviewed it and said it was full of crap and a waste of time. That means we know it's great.
I mean, what's so scary is the people that take the Bible literally. I mean, this guy just makes everything against that. I mean, I don't know how to put it, but it's so logical.
Yeah, very simple. Nothing complicated about it, right?
Exactly. So anyway, thanks again, and see you in a couple months when I get off again so I can listen to you.
All right, have a great life.
Okay.
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Uncle Neil.
Yes, sir.
First of all, that lady shouldn't go by plane. She should go by barge.
How do you like that? She wanted a seatbelt extender.
Another big one. Neil, I got two quick stories that make the other story seem insignificant for American Airlines.
Yeah.
One was in July on a flight from Miami to Port-au-Prince. A woman had an asthma attack. We were at a gate hold due to a hydraulic problem, which should have warned me first of all to get off the plane. The woman went into cardiac arrest on the plane. They kept on saying everything's okay.
Yeah.
I'm helping do chest compressions on her. Next thing I look at her, she's dead.
Dead?
They wouldn't remove her. It took 2.5 hours. In the meantime, a passenger in the back of the plane, another Haitian woman, has a heart attack and dies also.
Oy!
American turns around to me and we go, we'd like to give you a couple of bottles of wine for your help.
Yeah.
And that's this airline has. I used to fly them 2 million miles a year. And this airline has no compassion, no regard for its passengers at all anymore.
Two on the same plane, huh?
Two on the same plane, and then 2 weeks ago, coming back from New York, a young lady had a seizure, and she pleaded with them. She pleaded for a glass of water, take her medication to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
They said, we're sorry, we're taxiing, no beverages allowed to be served. Girl had a seizure, we had to go back to the gate. We ended up sitting at the gate for additional 3 hours until they had the paramedics from New York City come and take off.
Well, that water's getting pretty expensive, you know.
Bad news.
Okay, thanks for the good news.
Take care, pal.
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. You believe that thing about two on the same plane? You believe it? Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
No, I don't believe it, Neil. I think that guy was full of crap. I think he was disgruntled employee material.
Yeah.
Listen,
he was just trying to make that other guy happy, the employee. That's the guy that he was making this crap up.
It was a nice game of one-upmanship. Listen, Neil, there's two things I love to do. One is fly, and two is eat good chocolate. And I think the death knell of American Airlines was when they stopped. Every time you used to get on a plane, they give you a little 3-pack of truffles. I don't know if you remember this.
No.
But they used to give you the most delicious, wonderful truffles.
No, but I do remember the big, very warm chocolate chip cookies they used to get for dessert all the time.
They don't give any of that anymore, Neil. And I think that was the thing about American Airlines that really the kiss of death. As far as Atlanta is concerned, there's one thing about Atlanta that Atlanta can boast better than Miami, better than most other cities.
Maybe they packed all the chocolates away for a rainy day.
Were you fudge packing?
Yeah.
I think as far as Atlanta goes, Neil, MARTA is so convenient. They have a little train, you know what I mean? It links very nicely with the bus systems, and it'll take you right there to the front of the terminal. You take a little train. It's beautiful. I have never seen anything like it.
I don't understand what you're talking about. What does that mean?
MARTA is like their public transportation.
But that's not what we're talking about. You don't get on public transportation when you're changing planes in a city. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the airport.
Oh, I understand that, but that's part of the functionality of the airport is the flow of people through the airport, and to me that's something that I really look at. Dallas-Fort Worth is huge, and on the other hand, they got those little trams and trolleys in the actual airport.
But I've never been number 42 for takeoff in Dallas and Fort Worth. I mean, you know, I grant you it's a big and congested airport, but I've never been number 175 for a takeoff in Dallas.
Oh no, I mean that sounds ridiculous, and so do people dying on the plane. But I'm saying
which one of the two you think is more likely?
I think that being number 42 is more
42.
likely.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you. Here's Boca Brian, who of course can't afford to fly, so he's real happy about the whole thing. Now that his buddy Tom Chauvin is making those discs up in the sky, you don't have to worry about going up there anymore. Let's go to Coral Springs. Hello.
Neil, my God. Queen.
Yes?
Hey, man. Hey, DC-based FA. You know what? Let me tell you, up in Washington, D.C.,
yeah.
on WJFK, they've got an ad for Jerry Subs, and the guy comes in and he says, I'm under orders from the most powerful man in Washington. And the other guy says, who's that, Janet Reno?
And?
Yeah. Well, that was, well.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the weak material, okay? Woo! 5670560. That's why we're glad we're not in Washington. I'll tell you that, pal, right now. Radio's not the only thing that stinks up there, but boy, it's right near the front of the list. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Yeah, Neil?
Yes, sir.
I got another horror story for Airlines. Going through Atlanta.
Yeah.
I get bumped off at 2 flights trying to get to Norfolk. So I go up to the little red coat guy who works for Delta. All he tells me is, do yourself a favor, get out of Atlanta, because you ain't going to get any help here. That was the help I got. Ended up at my destination a full 72 hours later. 3 days it took me to get to Norfolk, ruined the whole family vacation.
All right.
So I'm going to call Delta Airlines sucks. Thank you, Neil.
Okay. And I'm sure they give a crap, too, believe me. They're crying crocodile tears right now. See, I get 5 weeks a year vacation, and if somebody should screw up my vacation, I guarantee I'm in a position to say, well, guess what? Didn't work out this time. I'm going to make up for it some other place down the road. And say, okay, whatever you say. But most of you poor bastards out there that have to work for a living and don't get 5 or 6 or 85 weeks vacation a year, you can't afford the luxury of having some stupid half-assed airline screw up your vacation for you, because once it's gone, it's history. It's adios. Kiss it goodbye, as they would say in a Marlin game. And Bob Prince ain't too happy about it, by the way. Here's a mobile in North Miami Beach. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
I just wanted to say, I fly American all the time. Like, I notice a huge difference between the way they treat you in international flights and national flights.
Yeah.
When you're going over to Europe, it's a good airline. They treat you good, give you nice meals, treat you as much champagne as you want.
Mm-hmm.
They take good care of you. South America, the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But nationally, they blow. And one more thing, Joe Sagaki, what the hell's he doing on your station?
Because he blows too. There you go. It's going around, pal. A lot of blowing going around. And don't forget what we always say in the radio business, okay?
If you blow too much, you're in trouble.
Joe Sagaki knows that, and he'll be on from 6 to 10 tonight. Did I get barbecued again? Did I get barbecued? Huh? No, I'm sorry, a little bit too much inflection that time. Was I barbecued? That's more like it. Seriously, how can he be on this radio station? I mean, I realize this is a make-believe operation here. I do understand that. There was like radio in a vacuum here on this show, but that can't possibly be. And that Greg Reed thinks that he's a broadcaster, Joe Sagaki, that he's obsessed with him. That's what they were telling me the morning crew this morning in the hallway. We were having a real good bitch session out there in the hall.
Don't take any bullshit from him.
All right.
Look at my butt. I'm such a beautiful singer. All the guys, they want me. From the old to the teenager. I am hot, I have to say. Sing real good, my acting's okay. God, I look good. Might have a chance with this beautiful singer. I got sultry Vegemite and a bod I'd like to show.
Rectum.
With my soft and creamy thighs, had a kid you'd never know.
No.
To see me is to want My brother's packed with speed. You see me all over MTV. Not dead in 40 years. I know you want me. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Beautiful singer. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
There's a lesson for you kids out there. If you're in a big 747, you look out the window, there's Austin Powers sitting on a wing. If he's on the side of your plane, you know you're in good shape. 56705. I know I'm in good shape because Booker Bryan just came in and he's so goddamn depressed. I feel no matter how long I had to wait for the flight, life is sweet, baby. That's right. You always feel a lot better after about 30 seconds with Booker Bryan. Here's Hollywood. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Great.
Listen, I fly about 15 times a year, and I don't have too much of a problem. I try to avoid...
You're the one.
Well, I try to avoid Friday, Sunday, and Monday because everybody wants to fly on Friday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
And if you do fly on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday, that's the flights are all jam-packed. The service stinks. The food stinks. Everything stinks. If you go
I don't agree with that. This only seems to be epidemic proportions in the last couple of years. It's starting to escalate like in the last 6 months to a year and getting worse rapidly.
Yeah, but the airlines push through more passengers in those 3 days than they do in the other 4. Those are the big travel days. Also, about short delays. Airlines want to tell you that delay is going to be 15 minutes, a half hour, so you don't go to the competition and fly on their airline. You could use your ticket to fly on another airline.
Yeah.
As long as they have seats available. I'll give you an example. Dallas-Fort Worth. It's a hub for Delta and American.
Mm-hmm.
If a flight is delayed on Delta, you go right over to American and get on their flight, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
But they tell you the short delays, and so to stop you from
string you along, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're going to fly, and you fly often, I know that, you have to do your homework. You have to know how many seats are available on the plane, how empty or full the plane is. Anytime you're flying peak periods, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., forget it. Everybody wants to fly 8 a.m.
No, but basically what you're saying is that if you, in other words, if you're retired, which most of us are.
What I'm saying is,
most people can't afford to travel in the middle of the week and then just pick off times.
You're going to have to put up with the bullshit if you're going to fly prime time. It's as simple as that. If you're going to fly off periods or you're going to fly off days, you have no problem whatsoever.
Well, you're just accepting it. I don't accept that.
It's not a question.
Well, it is a question because
I have to change my schedule in order to make my connection.
Let me say it again. On international flights, and I fly to Europe 5 times a year,
yes,
you don't encounter anywhere near the same number of problems.
Well,
very,
that's true.
very rare.
That's true.
Well, why is that?
Well,
whether you're flying on a Friday,
whether you're
flying peak times.
There's not as many passengers flying international, and there's not as many airlines. You know, you talked about cost.
There aren't as many airlines flying international?
No, not all of your domestics fly international.
No, but how about all the international airlines that don't fly domestic?
Oh, that's true too.
Alitalia, KLM, Lufthansa. I could go down.
They have code shares.
Swiss Air, huh?
They have code shares with airlines in this country that'll fly them further. In other words, if Alitalia drops you at JFK, you could pick up with their code share to go out to San Francisco, wherever you want to go.
And it works the other way around too. You can come from Miami on a domestic carrier and get on Alitalia in New York and go to Italy.
That's exactly true. But international isn't.
No, see, I can't accept your philosophy, sir. I'm glad that you're one of those easy people, and you're willing to sacrifice, when you want to fly and what time you're going to go and do all what do you call homework. I'm sorry, the kind of money that I pay to fly, I'm not willing to accept that. I'm not willing to join your fraternity of we'll roll over and play dead for you and stick it to us. Not this kid. 567-0560, pound 560. It's just like this business of overbooking. You know what that's like? It's like when Jim and Tammy Faye, Jim Baker was overselling condominiums that didn't exist. He went to jail for it because it's called fraud. And selling seats on an airplane that they don't have is also fraud, even though, we have all these last-minute people that don't show up. Too bad. That's your problem. Overbooking should be illegal. It should be against the law. And again, the public gets sucked into this. More than once in my life, I've gotten on a plane and discovered that I had a boarding pass for seat 22B or whatever the hell it was, and somebody else had a boarding pass for the same goddamn seat. And then they get on the PA begging and pleading, oh, we're overbooked, will you please? We'll give you $300. They always start at some low-ball figure, $200, $300. We'll give you $500. We'll throw in a car. We'll give you stock in the airline, whatever it takes, because we sold something that doesn't exist. We have 180 seats on this plane. We sold 200 seats. Because our track record, our computer shows us that 20 people stiff us every now and then. You know something? Too bad. That's your problem. It shouldn't be the customer's problem. Fraud is what that is. So thank you so much, U.S. government, for deregulation, baby. You've really made it into a picnic for all of us. Thank you. Here's Sunrise. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Neil?
Great.
Hey, listen, I used to work for the airlines, first of all.
Right.
I'll tell you what, the captains and the flight attendants, they're the ones making money. Okay? The ground people aren't making much, number one. Management never backs you up. I used to try to get people from taking 4 bags on the plane. You know, like you were saying before, never got backed up by management. Just let them down with 4 bags. Bags that are the size of an armoire or something like that.
See, that's another big difference between international flights. Oh, somebody just chopped him off. Between international flights and domestic flights. Try doing that on an international flight sometime, schlepping half a dozen bags. They'll say, oh, sorry, you have to check those. There's not a Chinaman's chance in hell they'll let you put all that crap on the plane. But for some reason, domestic flights, oh, sure, you got 27 bags, no problem. Just stick them under the seat, stick them on the overhead, anywhere you can stick it, okay? What happened to that guy? I think he just got deep sixed. Oh, Boca Brian loaded him the gun first? 5670, oh, Boca, too late. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. The most depressing man on the face of the earth. If you're in a really foul mood, if you feel like the world is against you, just have Boca Brian. In fact, that would be a great way for you to earn some extra living. Cheer everybody up by showing them how much worse your life is than theirs. Even if they're dying of some horrible terminal illness, you can do a little, one of your little hearts and flowers routines, and they're right by their bedside. I bet you they'll feel great about it. They'll say, oh, my God, the pain is so great, but you know something, I must be a lot better off than I thought I was, because look at him. Boca Brian, by the half hour, by the minute. It might take only 30 seconds for you to put that gun to your head and end it all. Or maybe to his.
Planet where apes evolved from men.
You can punch, kick him in the groin, rip the hair off his chest, and still he snores.
Hello, I'm Bernie Copel, and I'm barely alive, but I don't snore, and here's why. When we go to sleep, my wife always carries her anti-snore gun. Not only is it easy for her to use, but it's very effective too. And here's why. Just one quick pull of the trigger and you'll sleep snore-free all night long. If you have a loved one that snores, use the anti-snore gun. It's just what the NRA ordered. To order yours, have credit card ready and call the NRA at 1-800-AMERICAN-WAY.
140. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. What's the number on that one, by the way? Because this guy thinks, he's got a little number going here, this idiot. Over and over and over again, which not even annoying, just pathetic, sir. Pathetic. Here's Boca. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Hang on 1 second, sir. What is it?
968.
What? 561?
3076. 561.
Yeah.
968.
Yeah.
3076.
Okay, so maybe somebody will want to call up and talk juvenile sports with this asshole, okay? With his 51-liners with stupid Lawrence Phillips and the Young Gators. You're an idiot, sir. You're a moron. You're typical of the sports jerks that call this radio station 20 hours a day. 561-968-3076. Call them up and keep them busy, okay? Here's Boca. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
No problem. Just wanted to let you know that caller that called about, a couple phone calls ago that worked for American, he's full of crap. I've been working for American for 9 years, and I can tell you 90% of the employees hate the company. They love their job. They love what they do.
Yeah.
But they hate the company, and it reflects on what they do.
Well, I said that at the beginning of the show today, because I feel bad because I know there are a lot of people that work hard and that, try their damnedest to do a good job and serve the public, but it's a hopeless cause with this outfit.
Yeah, I know. And the boarding process, I tell you what they've done. They've ruined it by voting by categories and just saying basically, what the system they use at American, which is Advantage Gold or Platinum or whatever other medal that they have that day. They want to board those people first, and everybody in Miami classifies it an Advantage Gold, Platinum, or whatever.
Yeah, when they started finally boarding the plane on Friday, an hour and some late, I thought to myself, gee, everybody in this plane must be in first class because there was 7 zillion people all rushing in, and the 2 people that were, taking the tickets were overwhelmed. They didn't know what the hell to do.
See, that would be the best thing, to board first class first, people that need assistance, people.
Well, that's the way that real airlines do it.
Well, but not an American. And an American, since they want to make everybody feel important or whatever, then it's a free for all, and it's horrible. It is horrible. And I've been working there for 9 years. I'm a flight attendant, and I've been seeing it worse and worse and worse and worse every day. So I couldn't agree with you more, Neil.
Well, good luck, pal.
All righty.
Hang in there.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
How do you like that? Yeah, we've had several people who claim, and again, these calls are anonymous. Who the hell knows who's real and who's not? But who claim to work for American today, and all with the exception of the one guy who wants to blame everybody else. Point the finger of blame at me and these horrible people in the audience, because obviously we're all making these stories up. What the hell do we want? We expect to get there on time or somewhere close? What's wrong with us? Especially paying those great bargain rates. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Hallandale. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I want to just tell you that I agree with you in that overbooking thing.
Yeah.
One time I was on an airplane, and I was they said I can visit the cockpit if I wanted to. So I went up there, and I was listening to them talking, and they were talking about all the the things that they talk about. And I just overheard one of them saying about they were talking about your show actually. And one of the guys just busted out and go, you know what, that guy's such a
great. Okay, 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. That was especially good. That's why I let him go all the way through with it. That was really good. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I have a story for you. I just got off a plane less than an hour ago from New York to Miami, and I had the unfortunate mistake of flying on Tower.
Tower Air?
Tower Air.
Yeah.
Okay. Flying up there, we left on Friday.
I've seen their big 747s, but I don't know what that is. What kind of an airline is that?
It's a piece of shot.
Yeah.
Okay. We were supposed to leave out of Fort Lauderdale 2:45 on Friday. Some guy shoots himself in the terminal, and traffic is backed up completely forever.
Yeah.
Okay. So
what do you mean he shot himself in the terminal? What does that
The guy
mean?
shot himself in the head in the terminal.
Yeah.
So the cops were out there, couldn't get by or anything. Okay, we get there, we get up to the line, and they start taking our name down. They said, well, you got here late, we can't guarantee you're going to get the flight. So we're standing there right on line, right up at the counter.
Well, couldn't they at least give you his seat?
Yeah, right? They take the guy from right behind us, and they say, that's it, the flight's full, you're not getting on the flight. They took that one person behind us, that was it. So they said they overbooked the flight. Okay, 747, this plane holds 500 people. So I go up to the manager, and by this time, this woman's screaming. They got the cops out there after her. We're talking to the manager. They're just like, there's nothing I can do for you. You missed the flight. You were late. Okay, I talked to the guy. The guy didn't want to hear anything. He says he's going to get us on a flight out of Miami at 7 o'clock. And he said he's going to do us a courtesy and not charge us for the fare difference. Okay?
Yeah.
So I start flipping out at the guy. We end up driving down to Miami. Okay? We get to Miami, we start talking to the guy. I'm like, look, you guys bumped us because you oversold the flight. He says, no, that's not true. We didn't oversell the flight. You got there late. Okay, we told the guy what happened. He was like, there's nothing I can do for you. That's Fort Lauderdale's problem, not mine. Okay, so I'm talking to the guy. He gets us on the plane. We get our boarding passes and everything. And the guy's arguing with us because here are cars in Miami now. We're asking to fly back into Miami. He says, no, I have to charge you the fare difference to fly into Miami.
Well, how much could the fare difference be?
Well, it's not even a question of that. They bumped us off the flight.
Yeah.
Okay? So the flight ended up taking off at close to 3:45, which was an hour late. And we're sitting here on the flight. We get onto the plane in Miami. We're waiting on the plane. We're supposed to leave at 7 p.m. Okay, 7:25, we're still waiting. The captain comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting for some late passengers. So we're sitting there in Miami waiting for late passengers when they bumped us off the flight because we supposedly got to Fort Lauderdale late. Okay? So, ridiculous. So we're flying in today. And we're sitting in New York. We get there, and we hear the flight attendant come back, and she says they booked this guy. They put this guy in a seat that doesn't exist. So it's like row 1, seat H, and there is no seat H in row 1.
Okay, well, maybe you can sit in the cockpit with that other guy. 567-0560, pound 560 on the 18th. I think the acid that they were talking about before, I think they must be sharing it with some of the passengers. Woo! 151 at 560. In fact, maybe this guy can get that dog that got lost on the way to Syracuse and Oneonta somewhere, and they can all sit back in cargo and have a good time with it.